Monessen City Council meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Councilor Wojciechowski.
Here.
Councilor Gregor.
Here.
Councilwoman Thomas.
Here.
Councilman Coles.
Here.
And Mayor Sherrod.
Here. Please rise for the pledge of the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The minutes from January 6th, January 29th, and February 11th. Would you all please take a look at them? If you have any changes or anything. If not, I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second the motion.
Any questions, changes, anything?
Yeah, Mayor, how do we approve minutes that we just got 15 minutes ago?
Well, I mean, do you have any changes?
Well, how do I know what the changes are whenever that was over 2 months ago? You wanted transparency, that's all you ever complain about, and it took all this time.
Well, now you have the minutes. Please call the roll.
Councilor Wojciechowski.
Can we just have a few minutes? Just a few minutes to glance over it. Just a few minutes, okay?
Call the roll, please.
Councilor Wojciechowski.
Yes.
Councilor Gregor.
Yes.
Councilwoman Thomas.
Yes.
Councilman Coles.
Yes.
Mayor Sherrod.
Yes. Motion carries. Minutes approved. There is an additional presentation on the agenda, so I'd like to ask Josh Jenkins from Showtime Productions to come on up and make a presentation. We'll go over there.
Oh, over there, look at that.
There's a microphone up there.
No, there.
Yeah, just put the mic.
It was donated by someone.
You need it actually.
I can just speak. Councilman Wojciechowski brought that in. All right. Everybody hear me? all.
Yeah.
I'll get to it.
All right. So yeah, I'll keep things pretty quick here. Basically, I'm with Showtime. We're going to be doing a new series called Rust. It's based on.
Hold the mic up to your mouth.
We can't hear you.
Okay. It's based on a book called American Rust, and it's going to take place all over Western PA. A lot of it in Brownsville, Glassport, surrounding areas of Pittsburgh, and we're going to be bringing it here as well. We'd like to be using the Monessen old municipality building. It's going to be one of our reoccurring locations throughout the series, and our hope is that it will be multiple series after this year as well. So,
You're gonna have it right after.
we're gonna, all right.
It's not very sensitive,
But yeah, so like I said, there's gonna be a film presence here starting next week. So we're gonna be primarily just at the station. But really what I'm looking for is approval from council to kind of be here and implement some traffic control as well. I know PennDOT owns the road, but usually PennDOT likes to get approval from each municipality and the chief of police as well when we submit a permit. So what our proposed traffic pattern is,
They're gonna make a move there, use the whole city building to make some kind of series. You know,
so on Monday, April 6th is when we're looking to film
Can't hear
here.
you.
Monday, April 6th is when we're looking to film here. From 7 to 11, we want to implement a traffic control on Donner, which we would detour to Schoonamaker, which we would make that into a two-way instead of a one-way. And PennDOT sent me, literally just 2 hours ago, a proposal of what they would like to do using the local police. So I unfortunately do not have that printed out because I got it so soon from them, but I'm happy to email that to everybody.
What side streets, do you have the side streets that it would be from, like those points?
Yes. So what we'd end up doing is you would come down Donner, make a left, looks like on 2nd Street, and then that's where Schoonamaker would become two-way from 2nd Street all the way to 5th Street, and then traffic would continue on from there. So it would only be from 2nd to 5th is where the detour would take place. But they have pilot vehicles with police officers and then police officers along the way on Schoonamaker to implement that traffic control instead of using just barricades.
Sir, I misunderstood what exactly you're gonna reroute the traffic. Is it gonna put new plumbing and gas lines in or something?
No, we're going to be filming right outside.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, right in front of the Monessen municipality. Yes. Yes.
Rebuild the Monessen stuff, and that makes sense.
Yeah, the Showtime series called Rust. Yes. Yes, sir.
Big question.
Yeah.
This is a strapped cash community.
Okay.
What is Showtime or your production going to give in return since you need police?
We will be paying the police their overtime.
Just paying the police, nothing more?
If there's permits that's needed for that, then we will pay for
What
permits.
about something else? Well, like I said, it's a cash strapped community.
I'm also working with other properties for parking and other buildings for us to cater to. And I'm hiring local contractors as well for some of what we're
Do
keeping.
you have like a website or card? Get some of these contractors.
You writing
You would
all
like
these
to get
down for
contact
Marty?
contractors?
I'm trying to write down
Oh.
what's relevant.
Mayor Sherrill, he should not be addressing people. Josh should just be addressing council. Yeah, I don't think it's a public thing.
Yeah.
Do you, it's 7 to 11 in the morning, I assume?
Yes.
Okay. So from Schoonmaker from 2nd to 5th will be a two-way. That's what proposed from PennDOT.
Yes. Because what we're gonna, basically right out front of the building, we have a scene where a murder takes place, so they're coming out and they're addressing the press, and everybody's all out in the street, and it's a big hubbub to do. So basically, to make things safer, it would be easier to reroute the traffic instead of having to do ITC traffic and having to stop them and then film and then hold them for like 15 minutes and then let them go again, and then it just becomes a little bit more chaotic. Whereas if you could set up a detour to begin with, it just flows a lot easier and it's a lot safer, to be honest with you, because we're gonna have people out in the street. So
So you'll need from us approval, and then we send that off to PennDOT.
yes, yeah, and any permits that we might need for you to do it as well. That's common as well in small areas.
I'm gonna get Mayor going now. Good looking guy like me. Hey. You know what I'm saying, George?
Yeah, it's was there anything else? Did council have any questions for Joel?
There's gonna be a lot.
After you get it from PennDOT, do they organize that with the police, or is that something we need?
No, it's, I would organize it, I would take care of it, yeah.
You would get that to us in writing.
Yes, well, you, basically, we would get something in writing from you to give to PennDOT for the permit. That's what I need. I would need
You
a
need
letter.
something from us
Yes.
authorizing you to do it.
Correct, along with a letter from the chief.
What about liability insurance and everything?
Yes, yes. Yeah.
So the solicitor's gonna have to write up their whole claim?
Yeah, well, as part of this process, I think you want your motion to be the approval to close the Donner from between the, would you need it starting at 7 o'clock, or would you need it earlier than that to get things set up?
We'd like it earlier than that.
Okay, so you may want to do it from 6 a.m. to noon to close Donner, pending approval by the police chief and PennDOT, with the requirement that proof of liability insurance and the execution of a hold harmless agreement with the city is put into place and provided to the city.
Okay.
I would recommend that being the motion if, council is looking to approve this as part of the production of this.
Question, what's the basis of American Rust?
It's a fictional story that takes place in Western PA, in a small town called Buell, which is actually going to be played by Brownsville. So that's we will end up being Brownsville, and then we're kind of piecemealing it again together with surrounding communities, much like Monessen and Glassport, and then even downtown Pittsburgh and other areas.
Is that why I saw in the paper that they're looking for security officers for that filming in Brownsville?
It might
There's
be,
an
yes.
article in the paper.
Yes, yeah, because what we're trying to do as well, wherever we go, we always like to try to hire locals, because it makes it easier, and it helps the areas that we go to. Plus, they know the area better than we do. We're coming all the way from the city.
Mr. Witt? Yes, sir. Will they have to secure anything from any businesses that could be impacted by this?
Unless council would require them to do something to that effect, they wouldn't be required to do that. Now, it is always nice to notify any businesses that may be affected by it, that the street is going to be closed from 6 o'clock in this case. You approve it from 6 to noon, but there's nothing in particular that has to be acquired from the businesses if you're just going to be using the public street.
Yes.
There's no filming that's gonna be off of the public street other than that building.
Yeah,
that you'll be.
it's really gonna only take place right in front of the municipality building. And the reason why we have a longer detour is because the camera's gonna end up seeing further down, Donner. And it seemed like that would probably be the best path to take for the detour, with talking with PennDOT. And usually I do notify, residents that would live inside of our detour or, business owners as well.
Could this be done on a Sunday instead of a busy weekday?
We, like everybody else, take the weekends off.
They take the weekends off. You know, this, if it could be done on Sunday, I would really appreciate if we get that some concern. Instead of there's businesses downtown that may be disturbed by this.
I know that our schedule has already been put into place, and to reroute and film on a Sunday as opposed to a Monday would cost the production dearly. But I'm happy to work with the community in any way that I can and help whatever burden it might put on.
Chessie's, library. But they can still park and walk in. I mean, you would have to contact it, as far as I'm concerned, I would think the issue would be. But,
Yeah, Jerry's business is on there too.
Right here.
Yeah.
Man, right here. What do you say?
He was asking what business is going on.
That-
He was asking what business is going on.
On what?
What business is more on the block?
Yeah, I have a business on the block, and Monday's one of our busiest days. And you say you take the weekends off.
Yes.
Well, what are you gonna do with my income when I lose it on a Monday and everybody else's business downtown loses their business on a Monday?
If you provide me with statements of previous Mondays on what you make, then, and if you show that your loss as well, and we compare that, then we can make up for that. As long as you provide us documentation of what you normally make on Mondays and what you've lost on that particular Monday, we can compensate you for that.
Would that be
That's
comprehensive?
No.
Would it be comprehensive for all business?
It should be.
Would that be
But you're not
comprehensive?
taking into consideration all the people that live in this town that do business.
Well, I
The
would do that
community,
with all the
so you're gonna have to contact everybody and have them make adjustments to their schedule also.
I have one
Apparently, you guys are gonna do what you wanna do.
My question is,
That's not true, that's why I'm here.
so my question is, this is March 10th.
Yes,
You want to do this April 6th.
yes.
That's the week before Easter.
Okay. And this is from Showtime, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Showtime just didn't, whoever the producers are, wake up and say, oops, let's do this here. You had to have known this and had this in planning for months.
No.
Why did you wait until the last minute to approach the city?
I actually tried to come to a meeting earlier, to be honest with you, and there wasn't one. I tried to come to last week, and it was canceled. So, this wasn't my first attempt.
Something positive.
I'm sorry, Jerry.
Rusty as hell.
I mean, is there any other way we could route traffic so we don't affect kids? I had forgotten about Jerry.
Well, there's an installer,
business.
there's an Dollar General there too.
Yeah, you got Dollar General.
And there's a phone book there too.
Down at Fifth, they can go straight
You
into
can
the
still go
Dollar
right to the
General
parking
parking
lot.
lot.
It doesn't affect Dollar General, because you're gonna make a left up second, and you can go right, make a right back down Fifth.
Yeah, you would be
The
right.
side streets will still be open.
And that's
Closing the
close
side
enough.
streets.
So you go, they're making a right back down Fifth.
And like I said,
I'm just saying,
if
they're
the
making that
businesses,
parking. We're just trying to find a way to work this out. Because aren't they making a right back down Fifth, and you go right back into the parking lot? Right, walk right across the store.
Yeah, if you would have talked, if you would come into this and you had already spoken to the businesses that were affected by this and got their sign off, I don't see any issue at all. God, there's nothing. But, you know, Jerry, it's the man's livelihood. I mean,
Like I said, we're more than happy to compensate anybody who loses business. We just need the proper documentation that shows to our accountant, like anybody else. And we can properly compensate everybody. And we're gonna, I mean, the goal is it'll be multiple seasons, we can bring more money here. But, I mean, I don't know what, if we want to be here, we want to help. I'm trying to help.
Your business day. It's always say from 10 o'clock if your business opens, and they're done till 11. It's not all day. That's why I said it was safe.
If I could just butt in, part of what Josh didn't have, part of what Josh didn't have the freedom to say is that they couldn't make this decision any earlier because we were working through some hoops there. You know, they're going to be painting some of the interior, things like that for the old municipal building down there. And it's, I don't know what time the businesses are open, but they've been very accommodating to us and said, listen, we can't do this, we can't do this, we can't do this. And they're like, okay, you can't do that, that's fine. They'll work it out. So they're going to work with you, I guarantee it. And whatever you need, whatever way, everything that we've done with them has been very positive, very much accommodating, whatever they can do to help, because they want to bring a blessing to the city, not a curse. And they want to, everybody. So, and I know it's hard to trust people, and I know you don't really know me all that well, but I can tell you, as far as my reputation goes, from what I know from Josh and John, the two guys we work with, they're upstanding guys, and they'll make it right. Whatever it is, they're going to make it right. Because that's what they do. They're not. I was skeptical at first too. I thought, okay, these are Hollywood guys that are here to rip me off. Here I am, I'm a pastor, you know, a little backward kind of guy, and they're going to come rip me off. And everything they've done has been upstanding, and they've just been true to what they've said. So I just want to throw that 2 cents in.
Thank you.
And I'm not from Hollywood either. I actually live in Pittsburgh, and I own a house in Pittsburgh, so it's my name on the line too. I've worked in this business in Pittsburgh for 5 years. So, like I said, every job I do, my name's on the line. I want to keep, you know, good standing with every community I go to.
Question for you, Jerry. If they were to compensate you for this, would it work for you? Or you, because they're going to come down Fifth Street, they'll be able to go right to the parking lot, and your place is right across the street there.
Agreed to. But, on the other hand, what about the other people? What about the phone store? What about the tractor trailers that come through? We get, by myself, Foodland, Dollar General, all get a lot of deliveries on Monday. There's a lot of tractor trailers come through town. Now, you're gonna inconvenience the tractor trailers.
You won't make Second Street with a tractor trailer. First
No, you
Street at
won't.
the red light, maybe.
Exactly. Delmar's correct.
Yeah. It would have to be First.
I think they're using the building down on Donna. That's why.
We don't even know if PennDOT's giving you a place.
They're the ones who gave me that overhead. It was their idea.
I think we should do everything possible to accommodate.
Yes, absolutely.
Both ends,
Yeah.
Does
Like
council,
WQED, if you could run a special for maybe a week or
does
two.
council have any other questions for Josh? Any other concerns?
I'm just saying, is there any chance that, Josh, maybe you can meet with a couple of them, or like as soon as possible? Just
Oh, yeah, yeah.
This week, you know, possibly, some of the business owners on that block, and to say, this is what we're trying
And
to do.
that's part of the reason why
Right.
coming to this council meeting
Right.
is so
And that, maybe that'll
you guys
ease
can tell
some
me
things.
who the businesses are,
Right.
because
Yes.
I haven't had time to.
Right, I understand that, so maybe just get in touch with those people on that block and say, hey, I'm here to try to help Monessen, but I don't wanna hurt you.
Yeah.
So let's see what we can do to make this thing work.
Yeah, and that's why these meetings are really helpful
Right.
for me, like I said, because you guys know the area, I don't. you have insight of who owns what.
We need something positive.
Hey, Josh, as the city's fire chief, is there any chance we could have a meeting with the fire department, the police department ahead of time?
Of course.
Like in the near future, so that we could think out a plan, because with the #1 fire station being right there.
Yes, of course, yeah.
That's another, that's good.
I'd like to make one point. I'm not certain why Monessen's been left out of the bag for the longest time, as far as taxation and having new business.
Okay. Is there, we will open to public comment later. Is there anything else that you need to cover? Anything else from council on this?
I just think that was a good idea you guys made about the tractor trailers
Yeah.
too. Someone needs to make sure we look into
So-
that. Might need to be an earlier block or something like he said.
You might have to go, you don't have to go first, if you can't be second.
I don't,
Okay, so, if we're going to approve this, or make a motion to approve it pending on, the contingency, yeah, we'll need to add that before public comment. So, is that something that council wants to,
How soon do you need an answer? You need one tonight?
No,
Well,
you have time.
okay, my question is, I think we should look at this, or my comment is, we should look at this closely. And if need be, we could schedule a special meeting just for this. I mean,
That's not
just,
uncommon either.
yeah, I mean, you could, as soon as we get the information, if we can talk to the business owners, or you should talk to them.
Yes.
And get this squared away, because the tractor trailer situation concerns me, because,
The meal is gonna be nonstop.
yeah, yeah, they're coming out of the mill. Traffic is always heavy, especially on a Monday. So I think us just telling you tonight, okay, go ahead and do it, I think you need to talk to the businesses. And then we can talk to whoever we need to, and we can schedule.
What date is this gonna be? April what?
Monday, April 6th.
That's the beginning of the month. That's when your busiest time is downtown,
Yeah.
between the 1st and the 10th. That's when the majority of your traffic comes through town, and your business, and also people coming through.
I just have an issue with just, I like this guy, I'd like him to go talk to the business owners first. Then we can get their input, because this is what's gonna affect them. I think they should all have their input. I mean, just listening to Jerry down there.
The tractor trailers and buses can't make a right on Second Street there. I'm
No,
all
they're
for
not.
the plan, but I'm just saying.
yeah.
Yeah, that's,
they're gonna change that.
We
It'd
would
have to be
have to.
First Street.
Yeah, I
go
just
to
said
the-
I just know they can't make that right for sure. They'll make it off the water, going up, but once they get to the top, if you're talking about going on Schoonmaker, we're not gonna make that happen.
If there's nothing else, I'll, if you have anything else, if not, then, thank you.
Thank you for asking.
Did you leave your number with anyone, your card, so that they
Yes, I
can get in
can.
touch with you? That's good. Thank you. Thank you very much.
I will open the floor to Mr. Tom Marinkovich, who requested time to speak on monetary issues.
Tom Rikovich, I live at 926 Alexander Avenue. What I was looking at is sometimes I sit in council.
We can't hear you.
Sometimes I sit in council and you people approve payments, like the $10,000 for the lawsuit that the city was involved with the former mayor. And what I wanted to ask is, have our insurance rates gone up because of that? But you seem to approve the $10,000, nobody questioned it. And I want to ask our lawyer, the gentleman who was involved in that suit is still on the city committee. Now, if he does the same thing again, are we liable for it?
So, one, the approval of a deductible for an insurance, which is what that would have been a payment for, that's mandatory basically as a requirement under your policy. So council really wouldn't have had a whole lot of discretion to not approve that. Otherwise, they would have lost insurance coverage. I can't speak to any increases in your insurance policy rates as a result of any claims. And in relation to any liability associated with the redevelopment authority or other authorities, that would not be the city's liability. Presumably it'd be on those authorities in particular, and that's one of the reasons why you have authorities to protect the city from liability. So that would not be, if anybody did anything in an authority that would jeopardize that authority, it would not flow back automatically to the city.
Very good. Okay, we had a park grant for $100,000 for 6th Street Park. What happened to that? Because I remember there were complaints we didn't have money, but that evening, someone on city council, one of the councilmen said, we don't need it. And when I looked down at this end of the table, two people nodded like we don't need it. I'm saying $100,000 grant, we don't need it, and everybody's complaining we don't have money.
So that grant was $25,000 and Lois has been working.
They actually, if you went up there, you'd see it. They cut down over 15 dead trees, large trees. They actually resurfaced and they totally weeded the whole park. They painted everything. The money they did, and they're still working on it. They have a alt sculpture. So that money is been put to good use, and they are still working on that park.
When I sat at city council that night, like I said, the councilman said, we don't need it.
Yeah, it was 20. No, we did it. We've been using it. They're still working here too. Yeah.
Another thing I wanted to ask about, for about 4 years now, I sit in council, now. We talk about taxes on the other side of the tracks, and every time we're looking into it, when I bring it up or somebody else brings it up, people on council look kind of, blank-faced. Are we ever going to tax the property across the tracks? We keep taxing the property on this side of the tracks, and not on the other side.
I think he needs reassessment, but he can spot reassess right now. I didn't think so, yeah. So you can't spot reassess. So the county, the school, and us would have to reassess the whole city as a whole. You can't pick and choose.
I never heard that before. I can't understand why they're not under the same rates as we are here.
Back in 1996, they were running a coke plant was in a shutdown mode, and they were going to a hot idle. I'm not sure if it was a city and the county, but I believe it was both. They entered into an agreement with the owner of that coke plant at the time. At the time in 1996, they were paying $180,000 a year taxes. Now they're paying approximately $10,400, if my numbers are correct. Unfortunately, there was no sunset agreement in that contract.
It was an oversight.
However,
unfortunately,
it was an oversight. Everyone probably at the time just assumed that it would go back to the regular rates. Well, it didn't. And that's why it continues the way it is, because that agreement's still in effect.
That's very good.
I'll open the floor to public comment on agenda items only, please. There will be public comment for everything else at the end.
Could I just go off of that?
That's up to you. I mean.
Okay. The big thing is this, when they did lower it down, they didn't lower everybody else. But now that we like fair justice to raise it up to some degree, they're gonna raise everybody up? I mean, that doesn't make sense. Okay, so when they lowered it down for them, they didn't lower it down for everybody. So why is it that we're handicapped, that if we want some justice to go back up, we're gonna hit everybody? That doesn't sound kosher to me. But anyway, the big thing is this Morgan excavator. Was that the only bidder?
No.
How many bidders were there?
There were two bidders.
Just two bidders, the same usual suspects?
There were six companies that went to the opening, to visit, and only two companies bid.
Okay, only two companies bid, and how much of a time span was it for these two companies to get their feet in the door? Was it 5 days, 10 days?
They had approximately 2 weeks.
No.
The other bidder was $626,000.
Just based on past performance, Morgan Excavator, what do you rate them on a scale of 1 to 10? Because they've been doing a lot of work in this city for many, many years. So how do you rate them? I mean, from 1 to 10, I mean, where are they?
10.
Is there 2 or there 4?
I give them a 10. Give them more than that, not more, not
Does it
more
make
than
sense to
that.
rehire them
More
again
than-
because their numbers are low if you don't give them a high rating?
Ernie, did you read what the numbers were?
I know, but numbers are one thing, and then satisfaction or them doing
Well,
the job.
that'll be up to the city engineer to make sure he does the job properly.
Okay, I'm just asking, I'm not.
I'm
judging
just,
you
and I'm
guys.
just telling you,
Yeah.
I have my opinion about Morgan, and I'll keep it to myself, because I don't think it's appropriate. However, your city engineer is the one that's gonna have to make sure that this is done properly.
And who is the city engineer at this point?
WEC,
WC, do they have like a criteria, how they judge contractors?
their engineers, I know they do. I mean, I'm sure they'll be on site making sure it's done properly.
Were they the same engineers that okayed all the redevelopments here on the streets last 2 years?
I don't think.
No, it was somebody else?
The solicitor would like to make a comment.
So just to clarify for the public, I'm sure a lot of folks know this already, but whenever the municipality, whenever the city bids out a contract, they're required to go with the lowest responsible bidder. And that's intended to make sure that, taxpayers are representing cost savings. The key there is responsible, because you always want to make sure that a bidder is responsible, and, there's a procedure to deem a bidder not responsible, but it's a very important, very detailed procedure you have to go to with a lot of documentation. Otherwise, you're just inviting issues when you deem somebody not responsible.
Okay,
So-
but, sir, you cannot keep having the same people over 40 years doing most of the work. And then I ask a simple question, how do you rate them from 1 to 10? If you can't give me a 9 or a 10, what, just because they lowball it, that means we're gonna go along with it? So,
That's the requirement under the third-class city code, is the lowest responsible bidder.
yeah, but
Now-
you people have to say so too. If they keep doing a poor job, then what?
Perfect comment.
I'm just asking. The thing is, you people are supposed to help us out. It's not just trying to get money to pay the bills, but we're gonna also cut costs and get people that won't present problems down the road. Maybe they'll work on this, and then 2 years from now, something breaks. Okay, that's an expense. So, then I have something else. This is an agenda today, 7 p.m. I wish you people do not have the second Tuesday of the month, your meeting, because we have a school board meeting tonight, okay? And this came out yesterday. Out of all the Westmoreland schools, the performance score test, Monessen came out 42%. Bell Vernon 78%. And then these people are still gonna keep piling on more and more, what do you call it, millage, okay? Because the number one thing that's a plague with all the government agencies is they gotta take care of their own compensation first, okay? They gotta pay their salaries, increase cost of living, insurance, and then also their pensions.
That's not an agenda item, so
Okay.
you will have the
Well, the
opportunity.
agenda item is the time. It's the time for today, okay? So if you people could move it, pick some other week or day, because.
So we can attend both meetings.
That's right, because we're getting ripped off up here. And one last point, could somebody from the council have a liaison to go up there and monitor them, because it's like a locomotive running without any controls.
Right.
And they're gonna hit us again this coming fall, because everything keeps going up, so that the private sector pays for the public sector's, cost of living and everything else. And nobody pays for us. When our costs go up, we tighten our belt.
Good point.
You will give Ernie one of your calls.
Right.
Maria Scuteri, I don't think I need this, I'm pretty loud. Maria Scuteri, 1045 Knox Avenue. I just have a couple of questions regarding the motion to approve the appointment of city controller, the vacant position. When I spoke last, I did excuse myself from the meeting. I also asked to be notified of what your decision was. Nobody notified me of anything. I brought down papers showing that I am in fact bonded, not with the city, and I'm not going to get into a whole bonding match. I am bonded, I work at a bank. I've been bonded since December 7th. I would like to see where in the code somebody please point it out to me where it states that an individual must be bonded before they are sworn in. I really need to, I just want to see it. I went through the codes, I looked, I didn't see any, I did see the affidavit of residency, which, I've only lived here all of my life. I understand you need a piece of paper to prove that. I furnished that also after the last meeting that I was aware of. When I did furnish those documents, I asked again, please let me know what's going on. Can somebody let me know? I heard nothing. I came here tonight as a citizen because I want to know, as a citizen, and I think the rest of the citizens should also want to know, what is it? What is the problem with my being sworn in? Which is why I'm asking to see the city code. I would like to see that. Can you provide that for me, Mr. Harhide, Mr. Sherrill? Can anybody provide that for me, where it explicitly states in the code that somebody must be bonded before being sworn in? That's one question. The other question that I want to ask, and I would like an answer to, is that on that same agenda, if I recall, Mr. Saxon, his bond had expired.
Correct.
However, at that same meeting, the motion was approved to keep him on as city treasurer.
Correct.
I'm not denying Mr. Saxon anything. All I'm saying is,
There.
when I asked him, he said, the papers were in the drawer. They don't know what they're doing. I'd like to see the paperwork on Mr. Saxon. And if you can't provide it to me now, I will have to file a right to know. Because I think I have a right to know. I think that everybody has a right to know what is it about my serving as city controller that has you guys so balled up. You can't wait to get me out of here. And not even have the common courtesy of communicating directly with me. Nothing. It's sad, it's unfortunate, and I think that the people of Monessen have a right to know, because I have been stopped multiple times by multiple people telling me to hang in there. Hang in there, Maria. What you're doing is right. Hang in there. I'm not backing down. I'm not backing down until it is shown to me that in the city code, it states specifically that I must be sworn in. And if that is the case, I want to see Mr. Saxon's bonding papers. I would like to know how, at that meeting, when you said his bonding had expired, he was still, the motion was still passed to keep him on as city treasurer. Is there a discrimination thing going on here? That's my next question. Is it because I'm a woman? So now these are questions that either the city is going to help me understand, or I will file the proper paperwork and find out on my own. So with that, can anybody please tell me where this is written?
To answer your question about where it's at in the third class city code, it's section 10906, subsection B, where it's a requirements, the title of that subsection is bond to be given by officers and agents. Subsection B is requirement, and it reads, an officer or agent required by law or ordinance to give bond may not be sworn into office or enter upon the duties of office until the bond has been approved by the proper authority. So that places the condition that before somebody's sworn in, they have to have their bond in place and it has to be approved. No, you have to have the bond with the city.
Why?
It has to be the bond with the city.
Why would anybody, or wait, I mean, so I had to go in search of a bond for myself, pay for bonding, to be bonded, to get sworn in to something that I didn't know if I was going to get sworn into or not. And had I done that, you'd have found another way to twist this around. So please explain to me how that is held. What about Jerry? What about Jerry? He's been there for how long? If his bond was expired, what's going on there? I mean, seriously, these are not, I'm not trying to be confrontational. I want to understand what is the problem.
So I can tell you what the typical procedure is when somebody is elected or appointed to an office that requires a bond. They typically work with the municipal officials at that point to acquire the bond.
Really? Really?
They get
And I
sworn in.
contacted the municipal officials, and I asked them, I had to contact them. They never made, and that was the first night that I contacted you, Mr. Witt, and I spoke with you, and I gave you my concerns as to why and how they're conducting city business with no oversight. And you were very interested, curious, that's not good. It's not, okay?
And that's why I reached out
So,
to inquire as
and
to
yet-
why you weren't added on at that point.
And what did they do?
And that's why then it required reviewing the paperwork, because they didn't have paperwork here. And then as a result of that, that's what requires under the code, that somebody's not qualified for office at that point because it wasn't provided within 14 days. And then
Exactly, exactly,
So-
14 days. I wanted to come down here the next morning. I should have.
It's
But I
14
thought I'd give them a chance to kind of ease into it and get, and know that I'm not here to pounce on anyone.
It's 14 days though from the date that you're appointed.
She got
Well,
appointed
I-
on December, she got appointed, let's get this straight, she got disappointed on December 26th, okay? Take 14 days, that's after the January 6th nightmare that happened here. So,
When
if that's...
I called Mr. Harhide, excuse
I'm
me,
sorry, go ahead.
when I called Mr. Harhide to ask him why no one had contacted me, why I didn't know anything about whatever, he said, why? Are you the controller?
Yeah.
At which point I was stunned because I said, yeah, I was sworn in. It's in the minutes. It's in the minutes. I was sworn in. And still, nobody came to me at that point that day and said, it doesn't count. You're not bonded. You don't have an affidavit of residency, which I could have provided the next day.
So quite frankly.
Nobody got back to me.
Quite frankly, that 14 days falls in the purview of when this administration took over and did what they did. So why did not they give her the same courtesy?
When was she sworn in?
December
26th.
Why wasn't it done then? What was going on with the city administrator? Why wasn't that taken care of then? No, she was sworn in.
So what, she had 14 days?
Well, then why wasn't it done?
Why wasn't it done during the 14 days, during whenever this council took over?
What day did she come in and talk to council?
She came down here a couple times.
What
She
date
called.
What date was that?
Doesn't matter, she had 14 days.
Yes, it does matter, Tony.
No, it doesn't.
Absolutely it does.
It doesn't matter at all.
I mean, it matters because you shouldn't have been sworn in until you had all of those things.
Now, maybe I should have been treated like an intelligent human being, somebody who has worth and can bring something to the job. I'm more than qualified. And I should have been treated as such by saying, Maria, we need to get you bonded, and you need to give us an affidavit of residency, because it was still within the time frame. And I understand that you guys are just going to keep pushing that 14 days, because it makes it okay for you. And that's good, and I hope you sleep at night. But the truth of the matter is that I was interviewed. I provided a resume, a letter of interest. I had an interview. I was sworn in. I signed papers, and then I was ignored. I was ignored, and I don't know why.
They didn't acknowledge
and
your
I'm
appointment.
angry over that, because there was an acknowledgement exactly, like I didn't even exist.
Exactly.
And it's not right, because had you all behaved like the people that you're supposed to be, you would have at least said that much to me. Or you could have said, hey, you know what? Get out of here. You don't stand a chance in hell. You'll never see what's going on in this city. That's what you should have said. But you didn't. You played it off. You watched the clock run out, the calendar, whatever, and now that's your whole thing. We can fall back on the 14 days. Enjoy your 14 days. You know what? This is so sad. It's not over. I want to see the code. I want to see Jerry Saxon's bonding. I will file a right to know, and I will look into discrimination.
Yeah.
Because I have had it. I've had it. Trying to do something for this city. Thank you.
And Mr. Witt, I have a question.
Yes.
If I'm correct, and please tell me if I'm not, since she was sworn in, whether you feel it was illegal or it wasn't justified or whatever, only a judge can make that decision. Correct?
No, that's not correct. In fact,
Really?
that was specifically one of the changes to the third-class city code, was to address situations like that, so you don't have to go to a judge and address where there's somebody who's not qualified for office and it can be appointed or replaced.
So we can get that in writing from you as an opinion that that is true?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Wood, I have one other question. That is, you didn't answer, was or wasn't Jerry had a bond at the time he was sworn in?
I know that the motion to appoint him gave him 14 days to get a bond in place before he could then take the position.
Okay, but he got sworn in.
And I don't know when he got sworn in. He wasn't that evening, I know. But if he had the bond and his affidavit of residence in place within that 14 days and then was sworn in, that would comply with the code.
Okay, so you don't know at this point?
I don't know. I haven't been asked or provided that information.
So what you're saying is, this council gave a latitude
to Jerry that they did not give to Maria?
I'm not aware of that.
Why? The same night, there was a motion to approve him, and he didn't have his bond yet.
It was contingent upon bond.
And he still has 14 days to get the bond after.
But that was the reason you said Maria couldn't have the position, was because she didn't have the bond prior to it.
Neither of them could initially hold the position because neither of them had a bond or an affidavit of residency. So they both had to be deemed vacant, and then council had to reevaluate those positions. Could have appointed both of them, could have appointed one of them, could have appointed neither of them. But then once they were appointed the second time, they had 14 days to get their affidavit of residency.
So council should not have approved.
It says, motion to appoint Gerald Saxon to the office of city treasurer for the remainder of his term and effective upon the provision of the required affidavit of residency and bond passed 5-0.
You acknowledged him, you didn't acknowledge her.
How can you do it for one and not the other? What was the reason for that? You're discriminating.
I mean, I can't speak to the specific rationale for any of the individuals that voted. I do know that some council members did comment that evening about why they didn't vote to reappoint Ms. Gutierrez to that position. But that evening, there was not any discriminatory basis that was mentioned at that meeting.
Of course it's not going to be mentioned.
Are you insinuating I discriminated against her because she's female?
I'm saying,
No, you sounded like you just said that I discriminated against her because
you
she's
said
female.
to me
When
that
I was at the meeting.
that you didn't like her comments to you.
Absolutely, I did not.
And that was
She
the
wanted
basis
my-
for it.
Yeah, that has nothing to do with her genitalia. That had to do with the comments that were made.
Whoa.
Now, no, you implied that
Did I say your name?
you implied.
Did
that
I
this
say your
council-
name?
You applied.
I
No.
said this council
You
could have done
implied.
it. Yes, I did.
But it was not about
That's
sexual
not for us.
discrimination.
That's not for us to decide. It looks like it's going to be a judge that's going to decide.
Well, absolutely, it would probably be a judge.
Rutland Presty, 28 Lawn Trailer Drive. I'm up here for to talk about Morgan excavating, just like the other. Is there going to be a time frame on that? Because it took them forever to do these streets, and it was terrible. I had damage done to one of my vehicles. I'm sure other people in there had damage done. And yeah, go ahead.
What's very fortunate about this, it's inside the mill.
Is it?
Yes.
Thank God.
Yeah, so you're not gonna have a situation where there's tie-in traffic and stuff up like that. Thank God.
I just seen 3rd Street, and I was like,
Well,
oh,
it
like up 3rd Street.
It runs along.
I know,
down there.
okay, that's fine. Okay, and the other thing is, the appointment of Kevin Parker. That's for city controller, right? Is he qualified and bonded and all that stuff already?
He will have to be bonded before he can take office, I would assume.
Is there a qualification for that job, like a banker or someone in, like a
What are the
accounting
qualifications?
person? What?
What are the qualifications?
That's what I'm asking, is there a qualification for that spot?
There are several qualifications for that. You have to have been a resident of the city for at least a year prior to your taking office.
And that's it?
No, there's, offhand, I don't know all of them. There used to be that you had to be an accountant, but whenever they redid the third class city code in 2015, that was an issue all across the state where there weren't accountants. What does that mean? Is that there's somebody with, CPA or an accounting degree? So they broadened that to include essentially anybody who has, any sort of, experience with any sort of numbers. So it's pretty much broad and open to anybody at this point. And then I'd have to look and see under the code what the other qualifications
But there are some qualifications, but you just can't give it to anybody off the street that lives here.
But is there a reason why if you guys decided not to pick Ms. Kateri, that it was not opened back up again and we can interview other people too? I don't have anything against Mr. Parker at all, but shouldn't it have been opened back up if we were going through this rigmarole again? I'm against I'm telling you right now, I'm against her being let go anyway. But if it's not gonna happen, should have been opened back up to qualified applicants for interviewing process, just like we did before.
Oh, they didn't do that?
Because we didn't know anything about this until we got the agenda today. Never heard of it. You know, I have no problem with it, but we knew nothing of this until today. Had no idea that they were gonna appoint somebody to the controller position. Okay, and I'm all for working with council, but council has to work with each and every one of us. If there's a decision to be made, we also be a part of that decision making.
Minority.
Okay?
So I want to get something, just so I know. So she was sworn in on the 26th.
Yes.
So she had 14 days to get all this paperwork done?
No, she needed to have all that paperwork in before she was sworn in.
You didn't know that when you did interviews?
Actually, no.
Excuse me, I do want to see that in writing. Maybe tonight I can get a copy of it.
On the same aspect, I'll tell you that, to be honest with you and Jerry, we assumed he was bonded.
You can't just assume.
Was Wayne bonded?
He was been doing the job for how long? We just assumed he got rolling.
Wayne wasn't.
No.
I heard Wayne was never bonded.
No.
May I? About 2 years ago, the bonding was dropped. I wasn't here. I have no clue why anyone on council would drop the bond. Because that just leaves yourself open to, if there is theft, you can't recover it because they're not bonded.
I am bonded.
So if that's the case and the bonding was dropped, and that wasn't us, because I don't know anything about that,
Well, that should have been caught by your city administrator at the time.
That's right.
again,
Again,
we didn't know anything about it.
Whoa, just because you didn't know anything about it, you can't use that as an excuse.
Sure it can.
You can't.
Sure it
Your
can.
city administrator should have caught it.
Then I think she would have to, she would be
Well,
able
I'm
to
not-
make an answer for that.
I can't, she's not here, so I can't ask her why she didn't do it.
I can't tell
But
you.
it is.
So
it is
if that's the
quite
case,
clear.
if that's the case, then what's the big deal about Maria then?
They didn't want her.
What's the big
Let
deal?
her have the job.
If it didn't, if it was dropped for whatever reason in the prior administration, and it was never caught, okay? So what's the big deal?
It was caught.
By who?
I'm not at liberty to divulge that, but it was brought to my attention that it had been dropped. And I just shook my head at the time. At the time, I was nothing, but somebody would show up here and ask, like, for you to drop the bonding like that. And it was actually taken to the auditors at the time,
And?
and nothing came of it.
So there was no audit comment?
I didn't get to read the letter.
Well, if there would have been an audit comment, it would have got addressed. But if there was no audit comment, we wouldn't know.
I'm glad you said that, because you're right. It should have been in there, and it should have been caught. For whatever reason, it was left out. And I really can't find any excuse why it wasn't in the letter. Doesn't give me great faith in that auditing company.
Again, my point is, what's the big deal then? If they're not bonded, get them both bonded, we go on our merry way,
The
we're
big
done.
deal was that there was a vote, and the vote went against reappointing.
It did.
That's the big deal.
Well, I think you should interview for that spot, not just give it to somebody else. That's what I think. I think you should do that.
Some of us don't know anything about it.
I'm just saying, let's not argue about it, let's just do it the right way.
Well, it's gonna come up.
And let someone,
It'll come up.
To speak it the right way, when did the clock start for 14 days for Mr. Parker?
Well, it hasn't started
It
yet.
hasn't
because-
started?
No, he wouldn't be,
He
he's not
started
been
today?
appointed. Assuming that motion even passes, then his 14 days would start from today.
Okay. Because we gotta stick to the letter of the law here, okay?
Yeah,
We can't just be giving it away because we like the guy or we sneak things in.
I entirely agree with you. I mean, we have to follow the law.
Okay, I have correspondence from the Washington County Board of Commissioners. Some of you may have heard this already, but I'm going to read you the letter that I have here. Dear Mayor Sherrod, in 1919, 101 years ago, the veterans of Washington, Donora, Charleroi, Monessen, and Monongahela met to form the Mon Valley Veterans Council. They developed a protocol and rotation for the veterans of each member city in turn to organize and conduct a regional Veterans Day program and parade. The bylaws of the council intended this event to be organized and conducted by and for the veterans of the region. In recent years, however, the bylaws and protocol have not been followed and the prescribed rotation has been broken. The Mon Valley Veterans Council has not met and that body has ceased to function. For these reasons, the Washington County Board of Commissioners has directed the Monongahela Veterans Council to organize and conduct the first all-Washington County Veterans Day program and parade on Saturday, November 7th, 2020. This means that Monessen will not be in the county rotation. However, we welcome any and all veterans and veterans groups who wish to participate. Veteran service organizations, emergency services, civil authorities, and interested citizens from Washington County and nearby communities are still cordially welcome to respond and participate in this inaugural event. Sincerely, Washington County Board of Commissioners. So that was dated February 26th. I wrote back to them, thanking them for their letter, letting them know that I received it, and thanking them for their invitation, even though we won't be in the rotation anymore, which is obviously disappointing. Monessen was supposed to host the parade this year.
We were 3 meetings in planning for the parade.
Yeah, and I know...
Nobody ever said anything to the Mon Valley.
Yeah, I have no idea...
Well, it's up to you.
Yeah, I don't know what the Washington County Commissioners, who they spoke to first. No one seems to be able to get an answer from who started it, who spoke to who.
We had to give money back to people who advertised in the program.
Mm-hmm. I do know that the Mon Valley Veterans Council asked in January if we would be having the parade. I wrote on January 13th that we would be honored to sponsor the parade this year to be in the rotation for November 7th. And then, like I said, we received this letter on February 26th. Obviously, all of the same groups are still welcome to participate in the parade. I don't know, we could discuss this at a later date, but if there are any veterans groups out there that are interested in having a Veterans Day parade in Monessen on their own, maybe with Ross Draver, West Newton, any other communities in Westmoreland County that might be interested, that is something that we could talk about so that we can still have something. So just wanted to put that letter out there.
I have a question for you. It says that the bylaws and protocol wasn't followed. Who would they have been talking to here in Monessen, and what would be?
I'm not sure who.
Does anyone know who would have been the contact person in?
From the Veterans Council.
For the Veterans Council?
For the Veterans Council.
Yeah, who would have been the contact here?
Wayne Glass.
Wayne Glass.
Yeah.
And he wasn't aware, he didn't tell us, we didn't know anything.
And this came out of the blue.
Yeah,
We heard the rumor the night of the meeting. Monessen Veterans Council. That's the part that we weren't too happy with. It seemed like it was backside. It's
Yeah.
like it's at least insult the veterans group who worked very hard 5 years ago, 6 years ago.
It is very disappointing for the veterans. I agree.
For everybody.
Yeah.
And now he's going to be a magistrate.
Okay. We don't have any old business. New business, treasurer's report, please.
Were you doing new business, then the treasurer's report, or you putting it together?
It's under.
Okay, I'll do it, but I'll say something after the chair.
Okay, Matt?
Yep.
Mayor Matt Straw and members of City Council, ladies and gentlemen. Garbage fees and city real estate taxes collected for the month of February. Garbage fees revenue, year-to-date, current garbage, February, $42,195.06, year-to-date, $297,948.86. Budget amount is $370,000. Delinquent, February, $11,228.56. Year-to-date, $29,482.65. Budget amount, $200,000. Housing, garbage housing quarterly, we received nothing. The budget amount is $67,000. Total for the 2020 budget amount is $637,800. Garbage fees collected for 2021. February, $178.32. Year-to-date, $314.92. Budget amount, $100,000. City real estate taxes revenues. Year-to-date, February, we received nothing. The budgeted amount for 2020, the general fund is budgeted for $1,450,000. The debt service fund is budgeted for $500,000. The parks fund is budgeted for $251,750. And the library fund is budgeted for $50,000 for a total of $2,251,750. Delinquent city taxes, prior taxes collected, year-to-date, $4,672.39. The budgeted amount is $4,000. That will be the total taxes. We collected nothing from Portnoy yet and nothing from Westmoreland County. City real estate taxes distribution. The general fund received $3,008.76. Debt service fund received $1,037.50. The park fund received $522.38. And the library fund received $103.75 for a total of $4,672.39. I need a motion on that, and I have one more report after that.
I make a motion to approve the treasurer's report as read. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Any questions? Call the vote.
Councilman Gregor?
Aye.
Councilwoman Thomas?
Yes.
Councilman Bowles?
Aye.
Councilman Orchakowski?
Yes.
Mayor Sherrod?
Yes.
Okay, this next report is from Birkenheimer, collected for the year 2020. Earned income tax, January, $54,629.50. Mercantile tax, $1,474.31. Local service tax, $7,363.05. January's total is $63,466.86. February's earned income tax, $68,087.29. Mercantile tax, $1,481.57. Local service taxes, $13,753.78, for a total of $83,322.64. The total income for January and February from Birkenheimer for the year 2020 was $146,789.50. Mayor, I do not need a okay on that one. That was just for informational purposes only.
Thank you. For letter A, we're going to wait until next month on that one. We don't have a copy of the ordinance. We just have the agreement here, which was passed, I believe, on January 29th. So we still need that ordinance in order to be able to do the reading.
Mayor, new business to talk about? You kind of skipped over that?
Well, this is all under the business, but if you have something.
I'll let you finish your input first.
Well, that was it. Because we don't have the copies, so.
Okay,
we're gonna wait
go ahead and
until
do the
next-
next one.
I'd like to make a motion to approve an emergency repair of the 3rd Street sanitary overflow sewer and award the contract to the lowest responsible bidder, WEC. As recommended, the contract be awarded to the lowest responsible bidder, Morgan Excavating, based on the bid price of $161,518.75, paid with line usage fund. And just to note, that is on the mill property, but it runs as if 3rd Street continued to the river. It's in that vicinity. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions?
Just question, Mayor. The bid is $161,518.75, not an issue. God needs done, not an issue. According to your report that you put out on your blog, you put that line that the line usage had $156,000 in it. If that's true or close to it by that estimate, we're $5,000 short.
I have the latest fund balances, and there's $229,000 in line usage currently. Any other questions? Call the roll, please.
Councilwoman Thomas?
Yes.
Councilman Coles?
Yes.
Councilman Orchakowski?
Yes.
Councilman Gregor?
Yes.
Mayor Sherrod?
Yes. Motion carries. I'd like to make a motion to approve the appointment of Kevin Parker to the vacant position of Monessen City Controller to fill the unexpired term pursuant to the third-class city code. Do I have a second?
Second.
Questions?
Question. Did we collect resumes? I only see one here. Did we even advertise?
I didn't see it, I was looking.
It was not advertised.
So you're going to appoint a position that is going to fill an elected position, and you're not going to advertise it? Where is your transparency that I have heard you complain for 2 years? Where's the transparency? You didn't even advertise for the position. So how could you even fill a position without getting qualified applicants? That's one. Two, you got one person, I'm not sure where they got it, no disrespect to them, no problem at all. Okay, I would have expected you would have interviewed people.
I believe he was interviewed.
By who?
By me, I interviewed.
And who else?
I did.
And did you tell council that you were going to have an interview? Because I didn't get an email.
I didn't either.
So you didn't notify the rest of council, you just chose what was convenient. Last time I checked, this is a body of 5, it's not a body of 1 or 2 or 3.
Well, why don't you act like one
It's
sometime?
3.
Huh?
Be
Yeah,
more
here's
specific.
You heard me, why don't you act like it one sometimes?
Be more specific.
No, you're always nitpicking at everything that goes on down here. You
Here's
need
the-
to cut it out.
Okay, here's the thing. I don't think it isn't about nitpicking, it's about doing everything decently and in order.
Tell him.
There's an order for everything, there's a process for everything. I know Kevin Parker, I know his mother, his whole family, he's a responsible young man, but you do have to do things decently in order according to protocol. And if we interview and Kevin shines, because I'm sure he will, I have no problem with him, I know him myself, and I think he's a responsible young man. He's adequate and very well qualified. But we have to do things decent above board, because it's not gonna get any better if we keep doing this. It isn't. I don't know what you guys are getting hit in the brick in the head.
That's
This
right,
is not
yeah.
working. You know, we're supposed to be for the people, and if I saw this job was open and I would have wanted the opportunity to apply to.
Absolutely.
And if I didn't get it, I didn't get it. That's all to it. We all go for job interviews. There's 3 or 4 qualified candidates, only one gets it. But everybody should have an opportunity. That's just the way it is.
Handpicking.
It's just the way it is. You know, it's not fair. It's just not fair. Nothing against Kevin. I know him. I've known him since he was a little boy. And it very well be he'll come out on top, but he should have given a chance to everyone else.
Not the fair way.
Call the vote, please.
Whoa. Again, transparency.
Call the vote, please.
Where's your transparency,
Councilman
Mayor?
Coles?
Aye.
Councilman Orchakowski?
No.
Councilman Gregor?
Aye.
Councilwoman Thomas?
No.
Mayor Sherrod?
Yes.
Was that a vote for the people, Dawn?
You guys don't stand.
Actually, it was.
You have a funny way of
Nothing against Kevin.
Do I?
Yeah, you do.
Motion to approve the chief of police agreement by and between the city of Monessen and James B. Smith, chief of police, for the period from January 6, 2020 until the city's reorganization meeting scheduled for the first Monday of January 2022. And that is because his contract was from the 2018 reorganization until this January's reorganization. Do I have a second?
Second.
Question.
Again, we never seen this either. Nothing against the chief, nothing else, but we never seen the agreement. This is the first time. And
3 of them did.
we do not have that budgeted in the budget for that amount.
John, do you know what the budgeted amount is?
I know what it is because I did the budget, and it's nowhere close to that. So how are we making up for the difference? How are we making up for the difference? It's a simple question. Please don't stare at me like deer in headlights. I'd like to have an answer.
Well,
It was a
I mean-
legitimate question.
I mean, we'll already save, if we find a new auditing firm, we'll save money there, and we'll already save on solicitor fees too, so we could use that.
Well, wait, how are we saving on solicitor fees when the $1,000 a month retainer is more than the $750 from their past solicitor, and $100 an hour is more than $75 from our past solicitor?
But not everything is charged.
Neither was our other solicitor.
Just $50,000 worth last year.
Yeah. Wait. Call the vote, please.
Can I have one more question?
Councilman Coles?
I just have one question. We have, it says a motion to approve the police agreement. We didn't see the agreement till today.
The language is the same from the last agreement.
But shouldn't we see those things
you
as
include the whole
council
council?
beforehand? I'm just being serious. Shouldn't we, as the entire council, see anything that needs to be approved and motioned on before the actual meeting, before noon? We're at work. So we don't have time to review all this when it comes to 12 o'clock while we're at work the day before. So you have to give us some time to review these and have questions, and we don't have to do this every council meeting
Right.
because we don't see anything.
Right.
If we would see things beforehand, we wouldn't be here for 2 hours every day because we're questioning because we hadn't seen anything.
Right.
That's why these meetings are lasting so long,
That's
because
right.
we don't see anything. So we have to ask questions right before and during the meeting. We could start that if we saw it beforehand. We really could. They
Lois,
wouldn't have to be this long.
Lois, I really don't mind the big meetings being that long. I actually kind of like the discussion taking place in front of the public.
But I
instead
thought
of-
that's what work sessions are for.
Well, no, everything should be in front of the public.
Right, but I understand that.
Discussions and stuff.
Right,
And I agree with you that this
Right.
could have been done better. It could have been.
But Donnie, here's the thing, every week, every meeting, you say this could have been done better. But then it continues with the same way each meeting.
Well, hopefully that I can.
Not changing.
Okay, I'm listening. I'm listening.
Hopefully that this can be avoided in the future, because I'll be honest with you, I didn't see this either.
Right, it's not, it's
And
just not.
I looked at it, and it is exactly as it was worded before. And yes, we could have done this, and I agree with you. But it still needs to be done. It should have been done at the January 6th meeting or the meeting the 29th, and it wasn't. And we are behind, and I'm not making any excuses, but I'm the new guy at this, so I'm not following a lot of what's going on. So for me, this is a learning process, and I hate to see this happen like this, but it's the same agreement.
Yeah, it just seems to me if we would do things above board, we wouldn't be sitting here until 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, because we would have had a chance to review it.
You're probably correct,
Right. Getting
but it's still being discussed, it's still being voted on in front of the public. And I'll be honest with you, I prefer this. I don't even mind the comments from the peanut gallery. You know, they have a right to express their opinions.
But here's my thing, Donnie. If you have all of us on this board council together. So shouldn't we be addressing these issues beforehand, reviewing these together and coming to decisions together?
In the public eye, yes. But it should be in the public eye. It shouldn't be behind closed doors.
No, it's not behind closed doors, but we should have the information so that we already know what's going down when the meeting takes place.
I would agree that it needs to be done in a timely
That's all
fashion
I'm
in the
saying.
future. I do agree with you.
So on top of that then, my question will be then, you said we need to discuss it and everything, which we talked about that.
And we are discussing it.
Okay, but
This takes too long.
why was the work session canceled? Where this would have been discussed and had this discussion and all this stuff. Why was it canceled?
Yes.
Are you telling me that the three of you couldn't make the meeting? All three of you?
I know I couldn't.
I understand.
I couldn't at the time. I was down with vertigo, I had an ear infection. Why the other ones couldn't make it, you'd have to ask them. I can just tell you.
Mayor?
I decided that we would just discuss this at this meeting.
Why would you decide something and cancel a meeting that we should have had, especially since we went through and only had 3 members for almost 2 years and still conducted business? Why would you decide to not have a meeting, or not even reschedule it?
Well, we're having a meeting now. It
No,
was
no,
a week
but
away.
we're entitled, the people are entitled to have a work session to talk.
I just told you why. The public doesn't speak at a work session. We conduct business, we don't take votes at a work session.
No, but the public can still speak at a work session,
If they wish to make a presentation, yes.
and if they have questions, they can.
If they have comments.
You can't stop them from that.
No, you can't. You have to let them have.
Exactly. You can't
Before and
stop them
There
like...
are no votes taken at a work session.
Nobody said anything about a vote. The point is they would have time to ask questions or formulate more questions during a meeting, a voting meeting. We haven't had a work session since the first of the year. And my question is, on top of this, where this rolls into is, you scheduled one for the first Monday of the month, am I correct? Okay? So how come you skipped one in February? There was a first Monday in the month, first Monday of the month. You blew that right off. And you scheduled it on a Wednesday.
I think that was a misprint, and we just went with it, but we ended up canceling it anyway. And the dates would have been close together.
They're close together now. They're they're just over a week apart now.
They used to be 2 days apart.
Again, so all of you could not make that meeting.
Okay. Call the roll, please, on this vote.
Councilman Coles.
Session next month, is there?
Councilman Gregor,
Yes.
Councilwoman Thomas.
Who seconded the
Who
motion?
seconded that motion?
Oh, I don't even know.
I did.
Who?
You'll
You
do.
seconded
I
it?
second the motion.
Well, I'm changing my vote to no. Only because we weren't given this opportunity to review anything.
Councilwoman Thomas,
I said no too.
Mayor Sherrod.
Yes.
Okay. So before we get to the next thing, Mayor, I have a question because I've held it off because on the new business, and I'll let Jerry go first. So if I may, please. Thank you. This next stuff, I kind of like to have an explanation before this gets into a motion.
Yes. And I was going to ask the solicitor to clarify.
So there's several motions on here that you saw on the, or that were done at the reorganization meeting on January 6th. Subsequent to that, I believe it was the January 29th meeting, there was a motion to ratify all action that was taken at that meeting. In particular, there were several motions that were done at that reorganization meeting that after I had the chance to review those, I determined that there was not a basis to, in particular, rescind the motion to appoint Brooke Farmer to the authority and then to re-advertise for that position. So because the prior motion was to ratify all of those actions, and those should not have been ratified, we'll go through these again, specifically identifying them. And so now we have the rescinding of those prior motions with respect to the authority. So the
Okay,
authority-
stop you right there then. So what you're telling me is, if I'm wrong, and I might, because this made my head spin trying to read this, you want a mulligan. You want a do-over, because what happened on the January 6th meeting was completely wrong, so you're trying to right it here. And it's,
That's not.
but it's not legal. The motions weren't legal, am I correct? That's what you're trying to rescind
No,
here.
that's not correct.
Why, please explain this then, and why do it? Why do this then?
To make it clear and to clarify so that there's no confusion about what was in fact done and to give, once again, the public the opportunity to speak.
No, it's clear as mud now. Again, why are we going to go through these same things that were on January 6th? For what reason again?
Once again, to clarify, because there were several items, well, 2 items in particular, the Brooke Farmer one and the,
But that's not the first one that's here.
but once again, whenever they were ratified again at the January 29th meeting, I believe, it was ratifying all of those, so we want to clarify that 2 of those need to be rescinded because there was no basis to do that.
So why don't you just do the clarification for those 2? Why did you include these other things in here?
Because once again, the motion at the 29th meeting included all of them. So that needs to be identified, breaking them out separately, so we're at least making sure that The one with respect to Brook Farmer and advertising for the authority positions are specifically delineated, and then the other ones are specifically delineated. What, I guess I don't understand, what's the problem with them being on the agenda and voted on?
They've already been done. Why are you bringing them up again?
Once again, to make sure that there's no question and that there's no concern, and it ratifies all the prior actions.
There was questions and concerns way back on January 6th when it happened.
I understand that, and so.
And matter of
it raises
fact,
it again.
I asked you on the 29th meeting for you to give council a written opinion on all the sunshine violations that happened on the January 6th meeting. Have you done that?
You asked me for an opinion.
Yes.
And once again, you'll recall that I said that that's a matter that's in litigation.
No, I asked you for a written opinion.
Well, I just recall an opinion. You asked, and that's a matter that's in litigation, and I could not provide that at that meeting.
Did you review the January 6th minutes?
I have reviewed the January 6th minutes.
So what's your opinion then?
The position the city is going to take is that that was not a violation of the sunshine. Once again, it's in litigation, so we're not privy to discuss that, because as you know, we shouldn't be talking about litigation items outside of executive session. But once again, my position is that there wasn't a violation. Any violation was subsequently ratified, and it's non-issue.
And you'll put that in writing?
Yes.
No,
I mean, the court filings are basically what we'll have in writing once we get those filed, so.
So I have a motion to ratify and affirm the termination of Jadero Madden Cambist and Joseph R. Delfonso as city solicitor, and to appoint Watson, Mundorf, and Sepik, LLP, and Timothy Witt as city solicitor until the next reorganization meeting from the January 6th, 2020 reorganization meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any other questions on this group? Call the roll, please.
Councilman Orchakowski?
No.
Councilman Gregor?
Yes.
Councilwoman Thomas?
No.
Councilman Cole?
Yes.
Mayor Sherrod?
Yes. Motion to ratify and affirm the expiration and termination of Judith Taylor as city administrator, and to appoint Joan Harhai as city administrator until the next reorganization meeting from the January 6th, 2020 reorganization meeting. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Discussion.
So Judy reached out to me and says she still owed her salary for some months in question. She also says she hasn't got paid her unused sick days, her personal days, or vacation pay. And she also stated that her paycheck was wrong last time.
When did you talk to her last?
4 days ago, 5 days ago?
She probably has her check and everything in it.
So I can confirm that with her then? I'm just asking the question. She asked me to bring it up, and that's what I'm doing.
She should have it.
Okay, I'll ask her.
Call the roll.
Councilman Gregor?
Aye.
Councilwoman Thomas?
No.
Councilman Cole?
Aye.
Councilman Orchakowski?
No.
Mayor Sherrod?
Yes. Motion to ratify and affirm the restriction to camera access from the January 6th, 2020 reorganization meeting. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Question.
Okay, why is there restricted camera access in the building?
Well, so I knew you were going to ask this, so I wrote down some thoughts so that I would remember.
Okay.
So we've had several internal complaints of suspected audio. Mr. Mosier confirmed, I don't remember if it was at the January 29th meeting or the February 11th meeting.
29th.
Okay. That there was audio after hours, after 5 p.m. So the state authorities are investigating the matter, and the cameras in here will remain off until that investigation is complete. It raises concerns in regards to employees, and also if the audio was only activated after 5 p.m., even if it was only activated after 5 p.m., it implicates all labor negotiations and executive sessions that were held in this building from the time the cameras were installed. And we don't know if anyone has third-party access, and if they do, that's a whole other issue. So it is being investigated at this time. So that is why they are still off.
Okay.
So when they're turned back on, who has access to the cameras?
Well, that's what you
We
yes,
will,
that's
okay, so the
what I would
council
like.
will all have access to them.
Well, council will just have to decide who council wants to have access.
Okay.
So it'll be up to
But
all
the
council.
council decides.
Yeah.
What's the state standard on that? Does anyone know? It was my understanding that it was just the police department was the
Well-
only person. Is that correct?
I mean, if it's used for a law enforcement purpose, and it's collecting investigative information, under the Criminal History and Records Information Act, it should only be accessible to the police department. I don't know if all of the cameras were intended to be used for law enforcement purposes, if some of them were, some of them weren't, but there should be some segmentation there that if there's cameras that are being used for law enforcement purposes, once again, to collect investigative information, the police department are the only ones that should have access to those cameras. If it's just generally here in the building, it's up to council in terms of who council wants to have access to those cameras. Once again, no audio though, because that is a potential violation of the wiretapping act.
Was that ever posted that there was audio recording going on in here?
Just video, I believe.
Just video? There was no warning to the public about the audio?
Not that I'm aware of.
I see the signs that are up there, but there's nothing on there about audio. Interesting.
So this motion needs to change that.
Why?
Because it says to ratify and affirm the restriction to camera access. The mayor just said that all access will be turned off right now until council deems.
Well, these cameras in this building are currently turned off.
Isn't there an investigation ongoing?
That's not what this is saying.
Yeah, we're just ratifying.
We're just ratifying it.
Call the roll, please.
Councilwoman Thomas?
No.
Councilman Coles?
Aye.
Councilman Orchakowski?
No.
Councilman Grigor?
Yes.
Mayor Sherrod?
Yes. Okay, I'd like to make a motion to rescind and cancel the motions to rescind the appointment of Brooke Farmer and to advertise for a vacant position on the sewage authority. And I have clarification because it's worded really oddly. So we are rescinding our motion from the January 6th meeting to remove Brooke. So it's just worded really oddly.
So we're not looking to appoint anyone to that position, we're just going to vacate.
No.
No, vacate the position,
Oh.
we're just gonna vacate the motion.
Correct, yeah.
I'm sorry,
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Discussion? Call the roll, please.
Councilman Coles?
Aye.
Councilman Orchakowski?
Yes.
Councilman Grigor?
Yes.
Councilwoman Thomas?
Yes.
Mayor Sherrod?
Yes. Okay, I'll read this letter I have here. Monessen City Council, another great year for this city is upon us, and we at Care for My Kids Fly are thankful to be a part of this great city. Care for My Kids will be hosting our annual Easter egg hunt, and we are asking for permission to have it at Monessen City Park as we have in the past years, as it has, and we hope it will continue to be a great event for our Valley youth. We plan this year to be bigger than the years in the past with your help as possible. This event is free for kids of all ages 0 to 12 years old. Fly does not make any money from the event, so we are asking the park fee to be waived. Thank you for your continued support in helping us. Care for My Kids Fly and Dennis Hawkins Jr. And that would be April 11th, Saturday, April 11th, 2 to 5 at Monessen City Park. I'd like to make a motion to approve Care for My Kids Fly to host their annual Easter egg hunt at the Monessen City Park on Saturday, April 11th, 2020 from 2 to 5 p.m.
Second.
Any questions?
It's a worthy event.
They always have a lot of kids up there.
Yes, they do.
All of us do.
Councilman Coles?
Aye.
Councilman Orchakowski?
Yes.
Councilman Grigor?
Aye.
Councilwoman Thomas?
Yes.
Mayor Sherrod?
Yes. There it is. I'd like to make a motion to advertise for, excuse me, for an accounting and payroll clerk. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Question?
And who's doing it now?
Personnel, I don't know, but, I mean, we could discuss it after, if you like.
What do you mean
The
you discuss it
payroll.
afterwards? Who's doing the payroll? Who do we do right now is doing accounting and payroll? It's not personnel. It's just a simple question, who's doing it?
We have a contractor.
Yeah.
Why do we have a contractor? We never approved the contractor.
Yeah, we did.
Yes, we did.
There was.
I think at the.
But it was never defined who the contractor
I
was.
believe it was the January 29th meeting.
It didn't say who the contractor was. It said you were going to approve a person or whatever at $300 a week. You never told us. Plus, it was contingent, if I remember correctly, it was contingent upon the union talking to the
And
union.
the solicitor does have.
I did reach out to the union and got confirmation writing that was okay with them for, it was, I'd have to look, but a 2-month period.
Yeah, until we advertise for the full-time position.
Okay,
So,
so we have somebody in here doing it now. Is that true? Who? They're not working for the city, they're a contractor, so you can't say it's executive session. They're not an employee of the city. Who's doing it? Because I really don't have a clue. Who's doing it, John?
The previous employee who did the job.
Okay, so you brought her back.
She's a contractor, yes.
And,
upon union approval.
okay. And you were going to tell the rest of us that when?
Never.
Hello? When were you going to tell us that Carla's working, doing accounting and payroll? Because I didn't know anything about it. Lois, did you know anything about it? So who made the decision to hire her? We didn't interview anybody. Did she get vetted? Did we do a background check? Did we do a security check? Did we do all those things that any contractor of anybody that came into this city should have been able to have done? Was it done? John? It falls under your privy, so was it done, please?
That's why we brought back the previous employee.
It doesn't matter. You still have to go through a background check. She was gone for over a year.
Is that true?
You were here, you don't know that she was
You're
only
on.
gone for 7 months?
She was gone for longer than 7 months.
No, she was gone 7 months. Where are you?
So where was her background check?
Took place.
I'm in La La Land. You got it. So why wasn't we told?
Call the roll.
No. Mr. Solicitor, anybody that works for the city should have been checked, did a background check and everything, unless this is a free-for-all here.
There's no requirement under the third-class city code that contractors or some city positions have a background check. I typically recommend it, but it's not a requirement.
But wait a minute. She's doing payroll. She's getting social security numbers and confidential information. Nothing against her, but I'm sorry.
On that one. Yeah,
You can't just do that and put anybody in there. Someone has to go through that process.
She's not anybody. She worked for you.
She worked as a union employee back then. That was different.
She worked for you.
What difference does that make? If you quit tomorrow and then come back a week later, I'd make you do the same thing. Well, you could do us the favor and quit now. Because I want to know how she got put on here and we didn't know and there was no checks done. Do you do that at your business? To let anybody come in, whether you know them or not, to protect your business?
Actually,
If you do,
actually, no, let me finish. I belong to a program where I actually hire parolees. And do I do a background check on them? No, I just talk to the parole officer and ask them to give them a break.
Well, we're not dealing.
but we're not doing with that. We're dealing with confidential information here.
Where does Carla work full-time? Doing?
Payroll.
Payroll.
Again, this has nothing to do with Carla personally. This has to do with somebody is going after social security numbers and confidential information, and there was no background check done on the person.
Don't you think she would already know that, the information?
What?
She did the job. She did it for how many years?
Oh, my God, so it's okay.
No, I didn't say it was okay. I'm just saying, and as far as a background check, perhaps you're correct. Now, I'm not gonna say you're not, but the situation was what it was.
But the situation is always what it was. The situation is
You're right.
always, I'm learning and I can do better.
Yeah, oh, you're correct.
That's gotta stop.
You're right. And what would have been really nice, when I did reach out to you and ask for information, that I had gotten a response.
Why did you call me?
I didn't call you, I sent out an email. I had a response from Lois at the Civil, and I appreciate that, Lois. However, from you, I didn't get one. I got a response, but it was your typical response. Arrogant, condescending.
I'm just Parks.
Yeah.
Can't help you.
Your arrogance is notable. The problem was, you should have known. You should have known where the records were. You should have known where the file.
What files?
What do you mean what file? The right to know file. You're supposed to keep track of that sort of thing.
I'm not the right to know officer.
You should have known where stuff was. You were the administrator for 2 years. You were the deputy mayor. Okay?
And you weren't even here.
That's correct.
And the mayor wasn't here, so why was the mayor not doing his
I'm
job?
not talking about the mayor.
Well, you know what?
You were here. You were the one doing all the job.
So we did the job the best we could, and if you don't like it, I feel sorry for you.
I don't feel sorry for you. I feel sorry for you.
I don't feel sorry for me.
Okay,
So again,
call the roll, please.
Councilman Orchakowski,
yes.
Councilman Gregor,
Yes.
Councilwoman Thomas.
Yes.
Councilman Coles,
Yes.
Mayor Sherrod.
Yes. Okay, I have police report. This is Police Department receipts for the month of January 2020. Parking meter receipts, 0. Parking fines and forfeits, 0. Parking permits, $1,125. Miscellaneous collection, copies of police accident reports, $195. Charleroy prisoners, $175. A total of 526 calls. And that compared to Westmoreland County Department of Public Safety, they had 659.
Mayor, you left out one thing. How many tickets did they issue? Because I see the cops pulling over a lot
There
of
were,
people.
the amount was $0 in meter receipts. That, I
But
read
the
that.
tickets,
No, I mean, when they're handing out tickets.
no, they've been giving tickets since January.
Didn't you just read the amount of fines from the district justice?
Yes.
But we don't know what that's for. That could be, delinquent on property taxes.
No, that was fines from the magistrate.
Yeah, but it could be property tax.
I don't think it would have been in there.
They-
police.
And that is my,
But can't you tell us how many tickets were written up?
I don't have that on here.
Well, they've been writing a lot because the
Or,
cops are everywhere.
that's a,
Yeah, they're
Maybe-
everywhere.
maybe
They don't
you
got
can
a report on it.
I mean, no, not if it were parking.
No, it's the people that go through town.
Yeah, that's a whole other, yeah, that's a whole other, yeah. Yeah, I'm, so, for vehicle stops, what page was that on? 39 on vehicle stops. Okay, and that is my police report. Councilwoman Thomas?
Good evening, everyone. It was funny, my son lives in Bell Vernon, and when I go to his house, there's a sign that they have 2020, vote for any functioning adult. And I think we all need to take a look at ourselves because that probably speaks to this council as a whole. And it has to stop. I keep saying this every week, but I thought about kids having to come down. You know how they have the student council day where they come in? I wouldn't even want them to come and see how we act at a council meeting. But students from high schools come and they watch their council and their people do their business for the city. And how do you think this would look for them if they watched us? Seriously. That's something we need to think about. We are supposed to be examples for our young adults, and This is not how functioning adults act. But I'm gonna read my report anyway, because it doesn't seem to make any use of
Can I
it.
say something real quick?
At the public
I'm gonna
comment,
read my
please.
report, okay? It's my street report. Public Works Department is clearing streets and sidewalks of weeds and debris as weather permits. This will continue throughout the year as weather and time permits, and you can see that taking place wherever you go. I've noticed the difference myself. All public works and police vehicles have been repaired and are in good operating condition. The GPS units have been removed from all city vehicles. Management will closely manage the workload going forward at an annual savings of $3,600. I didn't see a library report in here, so,
I didn't get one, I don't know.
okay. All right, okay. And neither do I see a redevelopment authority report, but that is my section of the report for today.
Thank you. Councilman Orzachowski.
The Parks report, Columbus Park, the Public Works crew repaired the field house and concession stand, gutters and downspouts replaced and repaired. Roof leak from 2019 was caught, inside ceiling walls were replaced due to water damage, all equipment was checked and it's operational. The city park field they worked to remove the pitching screen from the infield, concession building and all equipment has been examined, they're in good working order. A stone wall at the upper parking lot has collapsed and they're going to work on it as weather permits.
Councilman Geiger.
Code office report, we had, for the February, we had 7 habitation permits, 17 correction letters, 4 animal complaints, 33 miscellaneous complaints, 2 zoning permits, 1 building permits, and 1 safety meeting. The financial report for February, plumbing licenses, we took in $1,050, building permits, $137. Total for the year to date is $587.50. Mercantile machines, we haven't taken in any, we've taken $600 for the year. Street opening permits, we took in $10,426. Year to date, $12,426. Magistrate code enforcement was $359.26 this month. Year to date, $359.26. Sign permits was $225 for the month of February. Year to date, $325. Eat and drink license, $75. Year to date, $150. Health inspections, $150. Year to date, $375. Occupancy permits, $1,170 for February. Year to date, $2,090. Yard waste pickup was $25 for February. Year to date was $45. Unsewered line usage was $1,584. Year to date was $2,448. I'm sorry, it was $1,584 for February. Total for February was $15,201.76. Year to date, $20,455.76. Fire report for the month of February. We had total runs, total calls 20. Total responding, we had 237 personnel. Average responding per call was 11.85. Total man hours involved was $226, coming out, $226. 226 and a half hours. Okay.
Easter's coming.
I do not have an EMS report.
Mayor, I got one question on something on the street, please. The question is about the GPS units being removed from city vehicles. Why were they removed? They were put in for safety. And quite frankly, there was a policy put in place by the previous council in 2017 to do so. Removing them takes council's approval to remove them. Am I correct, Mr. Witt?
If council did previously implement a policy, you would want council to approve.
So did anybody take the time and see if there was a policy before just removing them? because there is a policy. It was enacted, Ron did it. Ron started the GPS policy. And it was approved by both unions, the police union and the street.
That's not correct. That's not correct.
I know it's not correct, but that's okay.
You know it's not correct when you say that.
Doesn't matter.
Why is it not correct?
I don't understand, because it's in the police contract, because the police had to agree to it. And so did the ASME union, they agreed to it too, to be used only for safety. And that's what they're used for. So my question is, if you're gonna remove them, you took action before finding out if there was a policy and a procedure in place. So there is a policy that's from 2017, so before that could be done, that should have been discussed with council, which it would have been brought up, which it then could have been voted on.
Tony, we put the policy in
Yes,
place.
you guys put it
When we
in.
put it in place, we was gonna reprimand the police because of what they had done, but the union stepped in. We couldn't do anything because we didn't notify the union prior to that. But then the union was in agreement with.
You put them in without notifying the union.
Yes, I didn't do it, but I know who did
It
it.
was in the union contract.
They agreed to it.
They agreed to it after it was over with.
I didn't write his contract.
After it was over, they agreed.
After it was over, because we wanted to
They agreed
reprimand the
afterwards,
police for what they had
apparently.
done, but we couldn't reprimand it because it wasn't in the contract.
They put it in, and then they put it in the contract. All I know is,
Okay.
it was in there from 2017, that's all I know.
And I agree with you, there should have been a motion to do
Well,
that.
the police was going 117 mile an hour. They was going for a McDonald's at 3 o'clock in the morning, going 114 mile an hour.
True.
Councilman Cole?
What are we voting on?
We weren't voting on anything.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you were asking for a second now, I'm sorry.
It's your
I'd like to get a motion to approve the payment of the list of bills totaling $109,656. That amount, anyone needing information on that, I have it right here if you need it.
I don't know, can you pass the list down? What was the total again?
$109,656. That's a combination of both of those papers.
I'm sorry, is that in our packets?
No.
It's not in our packets, so.
No, this is for him to read.
Well, he can't just read it, you need to go through each one individually, or at least you need to say where the money's coming from and approve them.
Are those, is that the list of bills?
Yes.
That's a list of bills, yeah.
You can't just,
All of
You told me
council,
last month the same thing.
yeah, no, all of council should have a copy of the list of bills for payment. You don't have to, under the code, under Third Class City Code, you don't have to link it to a specific line item, as long as, once again, they're budgeted expenses. And as part of the requisition process, they're attached to a specific budget line item. But council should have a copy of those bills if they're being asked to approve them.
Could we have a copy now, and we
Yeah,
take a little bit of time and
Yeah.
look through it?
Absolutely.
Would you like to look through these, or whatever copy?
I would like to look at it.
Can I make one?
John's
gonna make it?
Yeah, he's gonna.
a question, Mr. Witt,
Yeah.
since we didn't get a copy, that is also available to the public. They should all have a copy. There used to be a book used to sit over there that had every transaction in it, what was being spent. May I ask where that's at?
I mean, I can't answer that question. That list of bills is a public document and would be available to the public if it was requested.
So if someone requests it right now, they can get a copy of it.
Yeah. Make about 40 of them.
And if I'm correct, also, if you're paying something out of line usage or something else and moving money to something, that also has to be stated also.
If there are certain, for audit purposes, for example, like liquid fuels funds and things like that, it needs to identify a specific line item, unless, once again, through your requisition process, it's already linked to a specific line item.
But we have to state that.
It doesn't have to be stated at the meeting.
If you're transferring money from one to another to pay something, you do.
If it's associated with a specific line item, so for example, when the bill's submitted, it's linked to a budget, and that budget is linked to a line item.
That's fine, but if we're saying something like we're taking the streets crew and we're paying salary because they did part of their job from line usage because they did sewer repairs, we have to state that part of this money came from line usage because it's covered by what work was being done by the street crew. We've billed it back.
You're not required, unless, once again, it's a liquid fuels, or it's some other restricted fund like that. You're not required to do that.
Well, liquid fuels is, that's what I said, was one of them.
Yeah, liquid fuels is one example. Because you need to have that for your audit. So if there's liquid fuels being spent, you wouldn't want to, as part of the requisition process, have that identified as being liquid fuels.
No, we haven't got the liquid fuels money.
So why didn't you use the microphone that was specifically
These should be budget items. Yeah, they should be budget items.
It takes time for people to get used to it.
Okay. What's this guild over?
Someone wants to know.
You don't read everything. Okay, let's put the ones that scratched. Okay. I got stuff that's scratched out. I'll take this one.
Make extra copies.
So is this?
Did anybody want copies of this?
Yes.
John, you make copies for people.
Okay.
Let's make some more.
Wait a minute. These are totally different than these.
I think it's too listed.
I agree with you. So what are they listed up?
Well, let's see. On Valley Refuge.
No. What's month? When they done it?
Don't show
Jill? These are for this month, correct?
Exactly.
Okay. You didn't put a date on them?
No, I didn't.
It's okay. We're just clarifying.
All right, for this month.
Thanks so much.
Is there any more? Here's both of them. Here's both of them.
So everyone was two. I gave him. I didn't realize there were two.
There's two of them.
That in the section it reads as you stated, and that Jerry Saxon is bonded.
I can tell you the part of the code, you can,
No, I want to see it in black and white.
I'm saying anybody can Google it, it's on
I
the
have it,
internet.
I have it here, and it doesn't read the way you read it.
Mr.
I
Wood,
have it here.
what's the code number?
It's, anybody can look it up.
Yeah, well, what's the number?
It's, hold on 1 second, it's I think it's 10906.
10.
Subsection B.
109.
Yeah, section Section 10906 of the third class city code.
09.
Subsection B in particular.
109.
I'm at 11701, qualifications, I have
10906. I believe it's the two.
elected city office.
We have it here when we
Great. Thank you. How about Mr. Saxon? Can we clear that up? Or is that gonna be the discrimination part?
We'll have to get that documentation.
I'm sorry?
We'll have to get you that documentation later.
How much later? Like tomorrow?
I mean, we can have it, yeah.
Okay, I'll stop down on my lunch. Thanks.
Okay, Councilman Coles, if you want to resume.
I had a motion on the floor to approve the annual review.
I'll second it. Is there discussion, questions? We have the list in front of us now.
Mr. Coles? What are these paid out of?
Matt, would you like to answer that?
I don't have the
John,
budget
would you like to answer
in
that?
front of me.
You want me to answer?
Would you answer it for me?
Play them out of multiple accounts. There would be general fund, there's liquid fuels, line usage, there's multiple funds that are paid. And so you have to make sure they're in those particular funds in order to pay them, and they'll be correct when the audits come through. That's how it's done.
I know how it's done. My question was, where are these paid out of?
There's nothing.
And this doesn't state what was paid out of what fund.
And he said, and the solicitor said, we don't have to go through each one of those funds. He can't explain any more to you than that. You can smile about it, but it still doesn't prove anything. I don't know what you're asking for.
I'm asking just for clarification, what got paid out of what, because that affects the balances that are in those accounts, which is going to be my next question after this, is what are the balances?
Exactly correct, and we agree with you.
The balances for the general fund is $395,000, Parks and Rec is $56,000, liquid fuels is $47,000, line usage $229,000, and debt service $70,000.
Maria, did he give you, I'm sorry, I apologize.
I got exactly what I need. Thanks.
Did you get the right sheet though? It should be 10906.
Yeah, that's what I got.
Yeah, 109.
So
And
109,
we're reading two different things here.
10906 subsection B.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're saying that that's not relevant?
Yeah.
What's it say?
No. An officer or agent required by law or ordinance to give bond may not be, but you don't have it as a requirement here to give bond. If it were a requirement, why wasn't I told? That's my question. Because they have this all along planned. And you, as an attorney, a warden of the court, you know what? It's a shame. It's a shame. It's a shame. It's not over, folks. Discrimination is next.
Yeah, I just realized something out here, Mayor. Where's the tape recording for these meetings?
The recorder is not working, so I am currently recording it. You need to charge the recorder.
By state law, you have to record this, don't you?
It is being recorded.
How, by you recording it, on your phone?
Yes.
But the TV camera.
Yeah, actually, it's not, there's no state law that requires it to actually be visually, but audio recorded. It has to be recorded in the form of meeting minutes. I mean, typically, every municipality does record an audio version so that they can, determine what the meeting minutes are. But there's not a requirement that there's not a requirement that it be an audio recording.
Well, we do have 2 audio recordings. We have the phone, and if someone were to doubt his veracity, we also have recording from MVI.
Yeah. Yes, that's a good point.
Anything else on the list?
Now, you think next time, when you gave those balances, you think that can like put on there?
Yeah. Do you want me to read them again?
Yeah.
Okay. General fund is 395,000.
Okay.
Parks and Rec fund 56,000. Liquid fuels 47,000. Line usage 229,000. Debt service 70,000. And that's as of this morning.
We have a motion on the floor?
Yes.
And we have questions on the second.
Okay. You had a second?
I seconded.
Yeah.
And you think there's a possibility, Mayor, that we could get these for some reason? I mean, they weren't in our packet, they were nowhere, we had nothing.
That I can't answer to.
I think that was an oversight, because last month, I believe they were there in the last meeting packet. I'm not sure, that's why I even looked at you and said, did you get it in your packet?
So these are Marches or February's?
February. We don't have Marches yet, so.
Right. No, I understand, I just want to make sure. And is this also rolled into January too?
We have some left over for January, yes.
Do you know
And
how much?
Not exactly.
Are there any left over from last year? Because I think some of them are from last year.
There is.
Yeah, we have some from last year too. So this is inclusive of everything that's, as of today, this is inclusive of everything, some of the December, January, February, and we'll pay this month. We should be able to pay most of all these off by this month.
Call the roll, John?
Councilman McGregor?
Aye.
Councilwoman Thomas?
Yes.
Councilman Coles?
Aye.
Councilmember Spassky?
Yes.
Mayor Sherrod?
Yes.
Can I continue? Item number 2, the tax anticipation note. The city of Monessen was denied the TAN note again. The Financial Institute gave the following reasons. A, the instability of the leadership and the internal struggle currently taking place. B, budget and past financials that we are having a very difficult time making any sense of. C, significant amount of long-term debt on the books, mostly attributed to bonds without a concise plan of repayment. However, with all of that said, our administrator is doing a good job managing these monies. Number 3, liquid fuel grants, $284,000. City administrator has filed all the necessary papers and we should receive the funds in about a month. Number 4, Department of Community and Economic Development, CDBG, grant $298,000. This money has restricted uses. Number 5, the police offices and the city offices' computer systems have been upgraded to Microsoft 10. Also, the bandwidth and doubled to handle additional volume with increased speed. All at no cost to taxpayers. The police department covered all upgrade costs of DEA monies that we were earned while working with the Federal Drug Enforcement Administration. The city office upgrades costs were covered by the removal of all GPS systems from city vehicles. The city financial standings follows. Monthly financial report. Total dollars available in accounts, $744,055. Total invoice open for payment, $527, $656. Invoices to be paid this month is $109,656. Invoices to be carried forward is $418,000. Major payments due. Refuse Authority Waste Management, $97,000. Pension plan for 2019, $227,000. Police vehicles, $94,000. That completes my report.
Thank you. I'd like to open the floor to...
Excuse me. I would like to address some of the financials.
Sure.
Last year, December 26th, I sat here and I listened to a report by the city administrator and the director of accounts and finance about all the progress that the city had made and that they had righted the ship and everything seemed to be going well. However, I was informed at the time after the January 6th meeting that there was $330,000 that was owed to the police pension fund. Well, I got a little bit curious because that was from 2019. So I started looking into it. I told you folks that I was going to be looking at different things over the coming years, and I was going to report to you. What I found out was the MMO had not been paid pursuant to Act 205. Out of that $330,000, there's the contribution from the state, which was $153,000. 8% comes from the city, 4% comes from the employees. Basically, that is the money that's been deducted from their paychecks. State law requires that once you receive the money from the state, that it has to be put in the proper account, which would have been Huntington in this case, because they are the pension managers, within 30 days. Unfortunately, that didn't occur. That money wasn't put into Huntington until January 6th. It was received. Normally, the checks are cut in October, so that money should have been transferred into the account within 30 days, which would have been in November. It was not. The law also states that the remaining obligation, it's called minimum municipal obligation, had to be put into that account by December 31st of 2019. That was not done. That money has been carried forward over into this year, and it's going to cost the city interest and penalty. I haven't been able to discover yet what the interest and penalty was paid or what it's going to amount to. We have to get that paid as soon as possible. Now, I read in the paper the other day that the directors of Council Finance at the time said that we owed about over $200,000. That statement is correct, but it's not the full statement that was correct. The amount is a lot more than that. Researching into it, I found that there was multiple unpaid bills from that period of time. And I'll get to that. The interesting thing I found was that I went online and I found that this had occurred again in 2018. The state came in with an audit. And it wasn't done then either. The money wasn't paid till February. The money for 2018 wasn't paid until February of 2019. Again, that cost us interest and penalty. What was interesting was, earlier in the meeting, Mr. Orchakowski said something about it wasn't in one of the reports. I can't exactly recall what we were discussing. Probably it was the bond issue, if I recall correctly. It wasn't in the report, so how could he have missed it? Can't blame him for missing it. I really don't. I really don't blame him for missing that if it wasn't there. However, this audit which they did in 2019 for the police pension fund, it is in the report. The report came in June 2019. I wasn't here. I can't answer why it wasn't done this year properly, considering the state had already warned us about it. This seems to be a reoccurring problem with the police pension fund. Yeah. I'm not quite sure why, but conservatively looking through some of these records here, I don't blame anyone that's currently sitting here for the overpayments of the pension that went out to the individual that shouldn't have received it. This would be an administrative problem. It should have been caught. But that particular payment of $54,390 cost the city $63,080. Again, I don't blame anyone sitting here. I'm not sure what the pension board was doing, but at the time, that was an oversight by the city administrator and the city council at that period of time. Then I found out, looking further, because I have the compliance report here, on November 28, 2018, the city reimbursed $10,022 to the Commonwealth, consisting of an overpayment of $8,750 received in 2016, along with applicable interest. So, just in those particular two instances, you can see we've got $73,000 money that we paid back this year. Again, I cannot blame the current council for that. I do blame last year's city administrator and council for this not being taken care of.
You're correct.
There's no excuse for this. Not only did you get it in the auditor's report, the auditor's letter, you got it in from the state. They told you to put the money away.
That is correct.
I know it's correct.
Everything you said is correct, except for one thing. We didn't have the money to pay it.
Well, then why?
Wait, let me finish.
No.
We didn't have money to pay it. No. We didn't
I
have
have
money
the
to pay
floor.
it.
I have the floor. Excuse me.
Go ahead.
You knew.
We knew. We got the report.
They knew at the time that that money hadn't been paid in timely fashion.
Yep.
That's not my major concern. My major concern was 12/26/2019. Everybody was told how the ship had been righted underneath the administration. It had not been. I don't think you should have informed, anyone should have informed the public that the ship had been righted when obviously it had not.
I mean, you were $227,000 in the hole on the police pension fund. But that's not all. Looking back, going through some of the records and checking into things, we were 3 months behind on paying the Refuse Authority, Waste Management, $130,000. So now we're up to what? $400,000? Then we find out that there was $21,000 worth of electric bills that hadn't been paid. 3 months worth. 3 months worth. They were actually getting ready to shut the power off the city. Now, I don't know about you, but I can do the math, and that's a lot more than that. I also found out that WC, there was a bill owed for $90,000. We're looking around $500,000 that hadn't been paid, but the ship had been righted. It was smoothed out sailing.
Now, man?
No, I'm not done. And I'm not trying to cast aspersions on anyone, but I hear about transparency, and I get accused of not being transparent, and I am human and I have failings. But how can you sit there and tell the public, and I'm telling the public, and I don't care who's responsible, I'm going to tell the public the truth when it comes to our finances. Because fiscal responsibility starts here. Now, I've done a lot of research, and there's a lot more that I'm looking into. But this telling the public that the ship had been righted, and there's over $500,000 not paid from the previous year, and hey, I'm the new guy, and I'm going to say this because I don't care who likes me, I don't care who dislikes me. I'm going to tell you the truth as I see it. That doesn't mean I can't be wrong. But this should have never happened. At the end of the year, there should have been an honest accounting of what was going on. There shouldn't have been someone sitting here saying the ship had been righted. I don't know about you, but a $500,000 deficit is not righting the ship. Someone tell me how I'm wrong.
Are you going to let me, or are you going to
No, now you go right ahead, and I'll respond.
And you're right about the police MMO. We couldn't pay it. We got fined by the state. The state came in and said, you need to pay this on time, and we told them point blank, no, we don't have the money. We didn't have the money at all. If we didn't have the money, we would have shut the city down. Now let's see something else that everybody else can listen to with all your hard work and investigation, and I thank you. There's nothing that you haven't said, okay? 2018, we did a 5.6 tax mill increase. Nobody liked it. We didn't like it. Had we not done it, we might have closed the doors on this town a long time ago. Okay? And when we talk about righting the ship, we were $200-some thousand, a little bit more than that, in the red at the end of the year. We knew what we needed to pay. We couldn't pay it. Didn't have the revenue. But we cut our deficit. Lois, I might be wrong in this. We were like $500,000 or $600,000. And did you read the auditor's report? Because it states in there that it was going in a positive direction. That was righting the ship. We had cut that in half of where we were. But we weren't out of, let me finish, we weren't out of the clear. Nowhere close to it, because this city cannot continue to afford. It spends more than it takes. A lot more. And what was going to pay the $300 to $200-some thousand at the end of the year MMO? And some of the garbage? And anything else that you were talking about? It was called a TAN note. That's exactly what was going to pay it to get us through. But guess what? We were going to be in the exact same position again at the end of this year again. If you guys weren't even here, and it was me, Lois, and Dave, I don't care if auctions go away. We're going to be in the exact same position. It's not going away. You've said it before, this city spends a hell of a lot more than it brings in. We could have, and we talked about it, laying off half to 3/4 of the police department and the street crew and shutting down the office because we could not do it. We didn't. We kept going to payroll, barely making it. We kept kicking it down the road, Peter to Paul, and we were doing that. I'm not going to lie to anybody, 100%. We never lied about those. I sat up here for a year, telling all of you, unless you never showed up until now, where this city was, how bad this city was, where our finances were, where we didn't have finances. Did you give a damn? I don't know. Maybe you did. Maybe you didn't. Okay? But don't tell me that we weren't honest and forthcoming and everything. And maybe you didn't intend that, so I don't want to go that way and say apologize if you didn't. But we were up front. We told everybody in this city how bad it was. Every meeting. Every meeting we told everybody. Even the meetings you were at. We told everybody how bad it was. Where we, for the first time ever in a long time, we were almost going to balance the general fund. That was it. And that's in the auditor's report. If it wasn't for that payout in the police at an unfortunate pension, we would have almost balanced the general, just the general fund, nothing else. We cannot maintain what we're paying because you don't have a choice when it comes to the police pension fund and everything. You pay it. I don't care where you get the money or the state holds you up. And we told the state, just so you guys all know, we told the state in 2019, you might as well rubber stamp it again because we ain't going to be able to pay you in 2020 because we're not going to have the money. So I don't know what to tell you. You can do all your investigating. I've said this all publicly for a last year, year and a half, 2 years, and nobody's going to be out there to sit there and say to me, no, he didn't. Yeah, it did. It's on record. It's everywhere. So quite frankly, this should come to no surprise.
It doesn't come as a surprise.
Okay, but you also bring up things, we don't want to hear about it, but I think one of the things that was mentioned here that I think Mr. Coles mentioned, and that was significant amounts of long-term debt on the books mostly attributed to bonds without a concise payment plan. Well, let's take that 10, 11, 12 million dollars and let's take that out of the equation, Dawn. Let's take that $558,000 payment that we make a year, then let's take the other $86,000 for the library we pay a year. Okay, let's take that out of the equation. Wow. What's that go to? Now you don't have a deficit, do you?
If you also take out the $730,000 of garbage fees that wasn't collected because they eliminated the garbage collection agency, that would take a lot of it out of there too.
It would be, but unfortunately, a lot of those people are out of state.
And unfortunately, as far as the debt service since 2006 has been running in that range. And what has changed, unfortunately, is our tax base. But the debt service has remained fairly constant. All you have to do is look at the DCED reports, and I go back to 2006, and that's in there. So, yeah, I agree, the debt service is tough, and it's bad, but at the time, there was a program in place. And do I agree with the program? Do I disagree with it? Yes and no, that they had been talking about. But when that administration left office, that was all kicked to the curb. They just did away with it. That was their right. But my concern, and this I have to give credit to you three last year, was the simple fact that you actually tried to come up with a plan. Because that's one of the things, that there was no plan in place. Also, if you look at that, one of the reasons why they didn't give us the TAN note was whoever made the budget, they told me directly that the numbers were completely skewed. They were wrong. And I don't know who did it. I don't know whether it was Judith. I don't know who. Was it you, Judith? I don't know.
It was probably a collaboration of all of us.
Well, the one guy told me that there was $500,000 in there that just didn't make any sense.
It's called a TAN note.
But it wasn't listed. Nothing was in the proper place, according to them. I don't know. I don't know that. I run a small business. You know, I don't deal in hundreds of thousands of dollars, I deal in tens of thousands of dollars. But the budget, according to them, was one of the reasons, was the actuarial studies did not make any sense at all. The budget was not sound. And I'm not casting stones at anybody, you're probably doing the best you could with what you had. The problem lied in administrator, the problem lied in maybe perhaps your inexperience. But they all combine for us to end up here. And this problem, I don't know if we can get out from underneath it. I have no clue. You may be absolutely right, that we just have to kick it down the road. But I would have come up with some kind of plan, put some kind of money away, because
You could put some of it away. If you don't have it all, you still get fined.
that's absolutely correct. But if you make the attempt, if you, perhaps at the time, it wouldn't have been the full amount. Maybe you could have pulled it from another account.
No, but we did
But
negotiate.
this money is not your money.
We did not, we negotiated, I think the fine went down. We did negotiate the fine down.
To what?
We have a percentage or two versus what the state wanted.
What was it?
I don't know. You'd have to ask Joey. You have to ask our solicitor. I don't know.
You recount? No, I'm not even gonna go there.
Again.
I'm not gonna go there.
Okay.
It's just, you know, and also, I'm looking through this again, and this was another interesting thing that I found. And it was a new company actually caught this.
We sleeping here?
From November 2017 through July 2019, there was an overpayment made of $17,409. Did that money ever get paid back?
To what?
To the pension plan. Has that money been paid back?
Judith would be able to answer that question.
She didn't even catch it. You know who caught this?
I don't have a clue.
Huntington.
That's great, because that's what we have them for.
That's what you had a city administrator for. That's what you're supposed to have. You're supposed to have someone that can do the budget. I mean, I'm not saying that she was, I'm just telling you what I was told, that the budget was not even close to being right.
You take the $500,000, we didn't have a balanced budget. We'd have never came close to a balanced budget.
You didn't have a balanced one now. I mean, I went through the numbers.
You're not going to get a balanced budget now because you
No.
had to.
The budget that was submitted to the bank was not balanced. I mean, it added up until you did you went through and you did the math. The actuaries told me straight up, we can't approve this. And that,
all I got to say is, we had in place a TAN note ready to go, and we would have got it approved. The numbers were already there. The bank already got back to us and got back to our solicitor, and it was ready to go.
that's not what I was told.
Well, I can't.
Yeah.
Why did we get it?
Why did we get it?
Well,
You
I
got
think
that right?
A had a lot of parts to do with it.
What did?
Part A.
It wasn't part A.
The instability of administration.
That's what they said, they were ready to give it to you.
The interesting thing about that is, you know, again, there's really no point.
So at the end of the year, come the middle, the end of this year, when all the tax money's in, I want to know where we're going to pay bills, because it's going to run out by 4th of July.
No, no way.
Perhaps you're correct. We'll have to see.
You'll be completely broke. We'll be completely broke by then.
But you sent me a message on January 13th that we're not going to make a payroll and we're bankrupt. I made 5 payrolls already.
Okay.
Why would you say that to me if you're on the team that's supposed to be helping these people?
Because I was asking you, where's our balances and where's all the money coming from? Because there was
You
no
weren't
money
asking
coming
that
in.
at all. You were stating that you're not going to make it and be any good at this job. That's what you told me. You were not a team member, and that's what we understood from the very first day. And then back here, you told me 6 weeks later, I have all the passwords for in here.
I know, no, I don't. I never said that to you.
You said it right here after the meeting. and I just looked at you and walked
Excuse me?
away. Because if you had all the passwords, why would you not have given them to me on the very first day?
I'm not the city administrator, I don't have any passwords, Judy controlled that stuff.
You said that right here.
Oh, I think you're really exaggerating.
It's-
This is
it's a
coming from the
shame.
man that,
It's a shame.
you know,
Shame on
I don't
you.
need to get into this with you, John.
No, you
Can I
won't
have
get
the floor
into
for a
it.
minute? You guys done?
No, I'm not done.
Okay, go ahead. Tell me when you're done.
I will let you know, absolutely.
All right.
The thing is, you should have told the people that we were $500,000 in the red still. I'm sorry, this man here even asked you at
Yeah,
a meeting.
twice.
He asked you about that, and again, you did not tell him the full disclosure. Now, Mr. Witt,
Yes.
an act, is that a law?
If it's an act of the General Assembly. it
Yeah,
is a
Act
law.
205.
Yeah.
That would be a law. If you break a law, what's that?
I mean,
I'm sure they're not gonna come and arrest us. They're not gonna come and arrest us
yeah, I don't think
for it.
there's any criminal,
Right.
perhaps,
But the thing was,
violations, but it's
this was in
legal
place.
action.
This was in place. Now, I'm not saying that he did something wrong. I'm not saying Lowe's did anything wrong. May I continue?
Sure.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm not saying that he did anything illegal or they did something deliberate. It's just, from what I can see, they should have told the public the truth. They should have told them the complete number. Righting the ship could be taken in so many different ways. They should have told us the number. They should have said it's over $500,000 that we still owe.
He may not have given numbers, but he told us every month how far it was.
That's not what was asked by Mr.
I asked for numbers. He
Maybe
didn't give
more
me
people
numbers.
would have helped the
He didn't
situation.
give a number.
And you have a point. They do share some responsibility.
Of course.
And the reason that they did is because they should have been here, and they should have been saying, wait, we got issues here, we got issues here, we got issues there.
Two heads are better than one, and five might have been better.
Perhaps, but they had their reasons, and I'm not going to go into that.
No.
But that should have been made public. If that happens underneath this current administration, I will be sitting here telling you, I'm not done looking into this stuff. We may get pushed into things, a direction I don't want us to go, but we may have no choice. And it may happen sooner than we think.
None of us are surprised about that. We've been told and told and told.
Well, perhaps you had more information than the rest of us did. I didn't know I didn't know that we had bills of $500,000 that hadn't been paid.
May not have known the figures, we knew we were in trouble.
Well, anyone could know that.
Hey, Donna, what about the $5 a month line sewage? Where did that money go? It should have been over 600,000. And I kept asking him.
No, Ernie, I looked into some of that, and it would have been like, perhaps between $500,000 and $700,000. That $7 a month that you're talking about, that was supposed to have been put away
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
for the retention tank,
Yeah.
and for whatever reason, they decided not to do it after Mr. Sarvelli passed away. I mean, I just read the article from June or was it May?
So
May.
what did they do with the money?
They spent it on different things. They spend it on different things. Now, let's be honest. They were robbing Peter to pay Paul.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying all the
Okay,
time.
they maybe kicked the retention tank down the road, but there was catch bases and other things that needed to be repaired. You know, it's line usage fees.
700,000?
That I haven't gotten all the way into yet. I will. No.
I just want to say one thing. We have to give this new administration credit, because without a TAN note, these people were able to make it happen.
Okay, we're gonna
Okay,
open
without
the
a TAN
floor
note.
to public comment now. Pino has been completed.
I'd like to say, maybe 3 things. If there's something criminal going on, Dawn, I think you should get a hold of the attorney general.
I don't think there's anything criminal.
But I think, because that's what it sounds like. The other part that I wanted to say, I don't know how much you pay the attorney, but he's the only one that's making money here. And it seems to me like you guys are in trouble, cash-wise. So the more you guys argue, who likes it?
Ups and downs.
Because, you know, I know he's not working for no less than $350 an hour plus. We call you guys call on the phone. Now, I give John credit for whatever you're doing. If you're doing something right the last 3 months, that's fine. They should give you credit. But you guys should be working with 5 guys, not 3.
Right.
You know, and that's a problem that I see. You should work with 5 guys. Now, Cheryl, I want to ask you a question. There's a working session, I think the day before the meeting, the regular meeting. Are you going to have one this coming month?
Yes, I believe it's
I
scheduled.
came here and I sat outside. No one.
I believe it's scheduled
But I'm gonna tell you
April
something.
6th.
If John is doing a good job, I don't,
April 6th.
I don't always agree with the group, but if you guys does a good job, you gotta give him credit. But 5 freaking guys gotta work together, not 3. I'm gonna tell you who's making honest. I think he ought to pick up the tab for lunch for you guys, not him. But you should go to his restaurant. I'm serious, because if I know you make at least $350 an hour.
No.
If you will at the end, because I'm gonna tell you something. At the end, look, I had about 7 attorneys working for me, okay? So I know what it costs. At the end of the year, that 500 grand that they owe, it's gonna be a good $200,000 on top of it. Write that down. But I'll tell you, you gotta work with 5 guys. Not every. One more question. So you were saying, who the hell was the mayor when all this shit was going on?
Good question.
You know, because that, I think, you know, I sure as hell, I didn't vote for him. I voted for him.
That's why you have a board. A board makes decisions, not one person. And last few years, it didn't go well, they did the best
But when
they
you do the
can.
budget, you know,
Need a
he
board.
gets a
Board
hand on
makes
it,
decisions.
and then they approve it, or work on it.
Every organization has a board. You can't operate a city with 3 people.
Yeah, but we're putting the blame on him, and
Yeah.
I don't particularly like him. It doesn't mean that he's not trying to do the right thing.
Correct.
Because I believe,
I don't want you to think that I implied that.
well, no, because it seems like, you know, we're missing a point here.
We are missing a
There's
point.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. One's missing. They all gotta be working together. But you ain't, even doing your argument, which was a good one, you gotta bring it to all of
Wait a
it.
second, it was a discussion.
You can call it what you want.
It was a discussion.
You know, but I'm saying to you, remember, attorneys argue whatever you want them to argue. Okay? They're on your side right now. When the coin flips and they still here, they'll be on the other side. Because they make prostitutes look good.
Oh, yeah, I did want to mention that. Everyone on council has received information about the sewage projects that are oncoming, that are going to be ongoing here shortly. Yeah, fingers crossed. We can't kick this down the road anymore. We're looking at the retention tank from 6 years ago, gone from $1.3 million. The cost on this thing is estimated at $3 million. If you take out a loan, you're looking at $4 million. We're in the process, we actually had WEC do some studies for us, and the projects that have to be completed, our sewage system is collapsing. Not going to collapse, it's collapsing. We have a vault up on Seneca that the bricks are washing out and ending up down at the new sewage treatment plant down behind Valley Independent. I believe they took 3 one-ton truckloads out of brick out of that. I saw some of the video. Everyone else saw that video? Lois, did you see that video of the vault up on Seneca Heights? Yeah, you could actually see the debris washing down the line. Now, here's the bad part about all this. This has to be done before it collapses. And you're looking at between 22 and 25 $1 million on the low end. And we have to get funding from the USDA. What's going to happen there is your line sewage fee is going to go up because this is going to be funded over a 40-year project, John? 40-year from the USDA. You're looking at 40 years for this to pay off this project.
The only good thing about it is a 1.6% interest rate right now. It may go down because of the corona issue.
You're gonna have to have the first year payment in the bank before you get the money.
Well, that's what the line usage fee was supposed to be for.
You better check it.
Yeah, well, you're right, Lou.
Yes.
And again, that money was supposed to have been saved and it wasn't. Mr. Charbelli passed away and that went away. I don't know why, I wasn't here. Like I said, they were robbing Peter to pay Paul. Line usage fee. No one knew this was going to happen, but it's like the $160-some thousand for the, oh, thank you, the sinkhole. That's an unexpected expense. You're going to have more.
The usage, your main pipes coming down for 9th Street, 6th Street, 3rd Street,
12th Street,
and 7th.
Yeah,
And 12th Street. And what happens now is it's going to take about a year before we can actually get the loan from USDA. And in the interim, we're going to be working to see if we can get some grant money from the state. That's my job, to work on that. But in the Seneca and the 9th Street, they have to do an assessment. And that assessment takes another year. So we're looking at a 5-year project that may start next year and go through 2025, 26. The actual cave-ins are coming now. And one of the reasons why, I don't know if everybody remembers at this 9th Street Park, about 16 years ago, they put a vault down in there at lunchtime, and when they come back, it dropped 30-some feet. They're going to bypass that and come down 9th Street. And some of this is going to be lined internally, some of it's going to be cemented, and it can't be all new because we'd be over $100 million. So it's a major, major issue. And what has to happen is, and I said this back in 2011 and 12, we cannot raise the taxes. We have to broaden the tax base. We have to get new people, new industry, anything else. That's the only salvation we have as a city. And we started that in 2011 and 12. And it ended in 2014. You have to broaden the tax base. Nobody in the elderly community can afford to live in this town, let alone Pittsburgh. So this is a major, major problem.
You have a school that you pay twice the taxes for school, and you pay half in the city. It should be the other way around. You got a school that you pay taxes that graduate 48 kids. You pay twice as much school tax as you do city tax. That's what the problem is in this city. And people don't understand what's going on. Why don't you tell it like it is?
Yeah, I agree with you. I did a study, and I remember this when we went to the school district, that it cost over $50,000 a student
To graduate.
to graduate.
Yeah.
And we're 496 out of 502 school districts in southwestern Pennsylvania. The only ones below us, Clairton, Duquesne, Braddock, all places that have basically almost collapsed. That's what our education is.
Three high rises,
And
two
in the-
projects, Monessen House, Eisenberg, non-profit, no tax.
And in the process of the sewer lines, we have to hope that none of the other ones collapse in the meantime, because most of them, if not all of them, are made out of brick. 120-year-old brick.
The study they did in the mid-2000s, 2005 and 6, they camera all of you were 4 and 5 then. So we ain't getting younger.
And one of our major problems is with at Fifth Street, we have a tunnel there, that's a sewer line. It's under the battery of Arcelor Middle, a $200 million battery. And they're really concerned about that. Because if that goes down,
We need to
then they
get
have
WEC
no electricity.
and we need to advertise about this.
That's it.
And we have to do it again.
Sorry about that.
Bartlett Presty, 28 Montreal. One thing is, the mill is only paying $10,000 a year in taxes.
To the city.
Yep, 10,400, don't forget the 400.
That's it, 45 acres.
I have 2 lots up here, I'm paying $1,000 a year.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. We can't get that to go back up?
We can't spot assess,
If you reassess them, you have to reassess the whole city.
and the county would have to agree.
This is going back to what they paid before. Why is it changed?
Because the agreement's still in force.
There was no end date put on the agreement. What was it, from 96?
That's unbelievable.
Figure out $180,000 over that period of time.
How about aluminum source? They paying their fair share down there?
Nobody.
Nobody will ever.
Going on that side of the track.
Yeah, the big boys get away with murder.
Good thing you're on this side, Chief.
Sure, I paid my first.
So, I have a couple questions. And this might pertain, Lou can respond. The redevelopment authority, what exactly do you guys do? Because I don't see nothing getting redevelopment on it, that's what I want to know. I know there's no money, are we bringing anybody in? You know, we trying to get people to come in here, I mean.
We was left with a judgment against us for over $200,000.
So that's why people aren't coming in, or?
No, what happened, anything that we would do, the money would go to this year, who was the one that we had the judgment against. And Mr. Orzechowski was the chairman of the redevelopment authority at the time when I was the mayor. We wiped that out. Am I right, Tony? And since then, we've done several things. And Louis, you're at every one of our meetings. We're starting to make headway, and we got a couple projects that's going on right now.
All right, do you have a list of when your meetings are, because I'd like to attend those.
It's the third Tuesday of every month.
No, it doesn't change, is it here?
No, it's at Moses, it's the old Polish guy on Third Street.
How come they're not held here?
Because we were kicked out.
What?
That was news to me.
Well, I think you should welcome them
I mean,
back
you're more
so
than
that they
welcome
can
to
come
hold
here.
them here if you like.
Why did you put us out in the first place?
I didn't.
I don't know, who kicked you out, Lou?
My key was taken off of me.
I mean, we can make arrangements to let you. Just let us know if that's something you want.
That's something that has to be discussed amongst the board, not with me. I'm just the chairman, but the board makes the decision.
And let us know.
All right, so the third Tuesday of every month. All right, that's all for now, I brought them out here.
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock.
My name is Catherine Tucker, live on 487 Lee Avenue. I had something I wanted some information to give you, because I was appointed to the sewage board. But because of the lateness of the hour, I'll save that for the next meeting. But what I want to ask is, all of the people that's here, and even mention it to your neighbors or anybody, please start participating and coming to the sewage board meetings. You need to know why you're being, say, when the bills go up, you need to know why. you need to be there to hear what's going on. Even, Mr. Harhide was there, and, you know, he was talking then with them about the, plan to get that taken care of, the sewage line. You need to be there, it's informative. And you know they already, you saw it in the paper, they're gonna do that $3, I guess, tax on, when you call. You need to be there to hear things. If you don't like it, you can speak up.
Could you tell them when the meetings are, so everyone?
I'm getting ready, well, the meeting's changed,
Oh.
but, I'm gonna tell you, we have a special meeting on March the 23rd at 4:30. But that's only to discuss administrative pay raises. But our regular meeting won't be until April the 13th. That's on a Monday. And all our meetings, regular meetings, are at 6 p.m. So write that down, April the 13th, which is a Monday.
April.
April.
Who's the chairman on the water authority?
On the switchboard, it's Lou Marasini.
Where's he from?
He's from Lenore.
I've never seen the Monessen guys there yet, since I negotiated with them, because with the food.
Well, I tried for it, but they didn't want me.
Over here. You know, they had to negotiate with me to get that in it. And there's never been, in Monessen, and I always even question it, at that meeting, why they don't have, they got the equal votes, right? You got the same vote?
It's
They have
60-40.
How they have?
3 members Monessen, 2 members Lenore.
Yeah, I think every year that one goes switch back and forth.
Yeah, but I mean, there's a way to negotiate, that you could get a rotation and who's getting the chairmanship. Sometime Monessen gotta be one, because that's who controls.
Well, they had a past practice, as they said, where they wouldn't, just keep putting the same person in, but when I brought that up, they said there was no such thing as a past practice. What can I say? But please participate. I was glad to see Mr. Harhide there and Mr. Coles there, but I need to see people there. It's important. I'm the only one from Monessen that speaks up. And we need somebody there sometimes.
So you stuck a Republican, isn't it?
What's that?
For Monessen, you got a Republican on our board. So that's what you don't do, they ain't gonna say nothing.
Thank you, that's all I want to say. I'll bring that information next meeting.
Thank you.
Nancy Horvath, 1417 Arlington. Mayor, my question for you only has nothing to do with anything that's transpired tonight. I couldn't get any information from the school board. Are you still employed by the school as an assistant band director?
I am.
For 19 kids?
We
I thought in the band.
We had 30 last year.
Not in the band.
Well, including auxiliary, yes. That's
Not in the band. I count them every week.
It is 30. There are 19 instrumentalists. I don't know what next year will be, and I don't know what the
They're not
status-
all marchers. They were only 18 to 19
Correct,
marchers.
but that's still part of the program.
That's, still don't need an assistant band director. She must not do a very good job.
We might not have a program at the rate of
The
the
guy from
program.
Monessen also is Paul Bargelli. I mean, he's
Sue,
taking the
he's on the suit. That's who's on the suit.
Oh, Paul Bargelli.
Yeah.
Okay, the question I had was,
The aging
oh,
process.
with the Showtime thing going on down here. The bottom street, you gotta let the buses and the trucks come in. Do you need the whole street blocked off? Can't you just leave a pathway and no parking against the mill to come through there? That'd be the easiest thing to do. You can route the other traffic, you won't have to, you just block that one lane against that side. That's what you should do, because you're gonna have a nightmare with trucks. They ain't making none of the business.
That's a concern.
Yeah, so that's what I'll say.
Susan Foyt, Captain of Salvation Army 308, Shoemaker Avenue, Monessen. It was nice to hear the discussion at the end of the meeting, not maybe this late hour, but that was nice to hear. And it needs to happen more, because when we all discuss, things get resolved. But I really wanted to speak about the sewage and the water bills, because we're a social service agency, and we're able to help people pay gas bills, electric bills. We're able to help with water bills and sewage bills as long as it is American water, okay, which does not fall to most of our municipalities. It's through Dollar Energy Fund, and they just don't hold those funds there. So there's no regulation, and there's no funds set aside for water and sewage, and we had a grant we were blessed with for many years to help with that. So whenever the seniors would call, I could help them when they were running short, like once a year on those bills. Our grant was changed, we didn't lose the grant, the focus of that grant was changed to food only and not social services and food. So right now, we have no funding to help any of the seniors, and we really held it for seniors. And seniors are living on such low incomes, and they're trying to maintain homes, large homes, and as we're seeing all these increases, we really need to remember that so that we can help the community, because we don't want to price our seniors out of their homes or have them not skipping meals, not being able to afford their food, because a young person will let the bill go and feed their belly. Senior citizens have a different work ethic. And they will pay those bills and go without basic essentials. So if there's ever opportunity to work together to try figuring out a fund or something to do to help those people, the Army's very open to sitting down and having that discussion.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm gonna wrap this up. One thing that I agree with John, you gotta increase the base. Is anybody trying to increase the base, like bringing in new industry or new business?
You can't do it if you're not gonna get along with her. They see this online.
I know, okay, now number two, this is what's important. You have some big trucks coming through there, like that one there in Pricedale, the big heavy trucks bringing all this soot that could be radioactive dust, and they're coming through Monessen a lot of times. Why don't you guys become creative in charging people for coming in, or any big
Road tax.
I don't think, I mean,
I don't know if it's legal.
yeah.
what, road tax?
Road
You
tax.
can't do that down in the south.
This is not the South, Ernie.
Yeah, I know,
No, they do it around here.
but,
State road.
Hey, one last-
I mean, it's also not technically.
What happened, Mr. Witt, look into this. You know, you can get away with it, it ain't illegal, do it.
Yeah, you guys, the city's not gonna have the authority to over state roads and what traffic goes on state roads.
Well,
On your municipal roads, you could have weight limits, and then that requires, anybody using
Okay, why don't you
those
do
to
that then, weight limit.
have bonds and
That-
things
that's
like that.
perfect.
Exactly.
Weight
I don't know
limits,
what you
then
have
charge
already.
them.
Already,
They
both
already
these
have
roads are
it.
state roads. What's it gonna do?
State's gonna get the money, Ernie.
Okay, anyway, one last thing. Please do not put the meeting when the high school has their school board meeting. Please, because I gotta go up there because they're at 42%.
Yeah, I agree with you.
That's crazy. Hey, and I was gonna go up there today, and this was more important.
Thank you, Ernie, I appreciate
They're
that.
both
I
important.
agree with you.
We need a liaison.
Alright. I motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Very good.
Meeting adjourned.
School board meetings.
That was fun.